What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 6FM. Chapter 141 Two-Headed Kurozumi Orochi Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Well, who are you? Kazuki Hiyori asked with some doubts. It stands to reason that there are almost no people who do not know Luo Ning on the sea, but here is Wano-kuni. Wano-kuni has closed the entire country because of the big snake and Kaido. Not to mention people going out to sea, even the news from the outside world can't get in, and people in Wano-kuni have black eyes and don't know what's going on outside. Luo Ning's name is probably only known to Orochi, some of Orochi's confidants, Kaido and others people from Wano-kuni don't know at all. Xiao Hiyori, let me introduce to you, this is a well-known figure in the world, his fame is still higher than ours, and his strength is completely higher than ours. This time his goal is Kaido, just incidentally that's all. Whitebeard introduced it with a smile. This kind of introduction really made Luo Ning a little uncomfortable. After all, it was Whitebeard who introduced him. It feels like Whitebeard is bragging about himself. Is it more powerful than Papa Bai Xiaoji? Kazuki Hiyori was born on the Whitebeard ship, so he naturally knew about Whitebeard, and now there is a person who is so respected by Whitebeard, which is extremely rare. Master Luo Ning, meeting for the first time. After listening to what Whitebeard said, Kazuki Hiyori came to his senses, and then greeted Luo Ning, who also introduced Nami and others, but now is not the time for a party. Let's go directly to Kurozumi Orochi. As for the people on his side, I have a way to find out, and then we can deal with them together. After Luo Ning finished speaking, everyone nodded. This time Kazuki Hiyori also followed. After all, she also wanted to see her enemy killed. Kurozumi Orochi had plotted against their family back then. In this way, under the power of Luo Ning, a group of people walked on the street like this, but no one noticed, but there were not many people at night. Soon the group arrived at the general's mansion. It's here. Kazuki Hiyori, who is in charge of leading the way, is quite familiar with this place. After all, she often comes here. She knows everything about Kurozumi Orochi here. Just like that, a group of people walked in. To be honest, Whitebeard's height really troubled him now. After all, the buildings here are basically not too exaggerated. Those with 2 or 3 meters are fine, but Whitebeard's height is more than 6 meters. It's embarrassing. Before, Kazuki Hiyori couldn't get in through the door, so I could only meet Kazuki Hiyori in the yard. It's such a troublesome building. If it weren't for the fact that you can't use your abilities casually here, Laozi would just collapse this place and it would be over. Whitebeard is also very helpless. Luo Ning is also a little funny about this, who called Whitebeard's height here. Whitebeard is so tall that he can only sit on the deck of his captain's boat, and cannot enter the cabin at all. After finding Kurozumi Orochi, Luo Ning directly got Kurozumi Orochi out of the house. At this moment, Kurozumi Orochi was still in a daze, and he was dragged out of the room not long after he fell asleep. As a general, he has been at ease for so long, who would dare to do such a thing to him, but when he opened his eyes, he almost thought he was dreaming. This circle is full of acquaintances, in addition to the most familiar Kazuki Hiyori, there are also Whitebeard and others who are very familiar. Although other people can't receive the news from the outside world, he can. Seeing Whitebeard and Luo Ning appearing in front of him now, he almost freaks out. Bye, Whitebeard, Luo Ning, it's impossible, I must be dreaming, yes, I must be dreaming, and Xiaozi too, it must be because you think too much. Kurozumi Orochi was unwilling to believe that these people in front of him were real. Advertisement. It's really indescribable. Looking at the appearance of Kurozumi Orochi, Luo Ning really couldn't explain it in words. Kurozumi Orochi has 2 heads, yes, 2 heads, and the size of the head occupies almost half of the body. This kind of weird body comparison can only be seen in Pirate World. Dream, you bloody B****************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** Orochi's face directly. This punch Marco didn't hold back his hand, the fist directly smashed Kurozumi Orochi's face and deformed it. What? With this smash, Kurozumi's face was deformed, and some of his bones were broken. The severe pain made him fully awake. This is not a dream at all, but real. Ask for flowers. After Marco made a move, a group of captains swarmed up, and the most ruthless shot was Yizang who shot at the man's biggest weakness. He has turned on the mind-reading ability, and now the people that Kurozumi Orochi thinks of are all recorded by Luo Ning. This scene was also watched by Luo Ning, who couldn't help but fight a cold war. The big snake has already been beaten by this group of people and rolled its eyes. Looking at Orochi's corpse, Luo Ning asked, he didn't need Kurozumi Orochi to answer his question, he just needed Kurozumi Orochi to think for himself. But his ability is nothing more than related to Yamada no Orochi. Yamada no Orochi has 8 heads, and he is the same. All this information is known to the big snake, and soon Luo Ning grasped what he needed to know. 0. Thanks to NB for the monthly pass. After reading the information, Luo Ning asked where the Kaido people in Wano-kuni were distributed and who they were. Is this a direct kill? Kurozumi Orochi is a fruit-capable user, or a phantom beast. His fruit gives him a lot of lives, so he can't just die. Aren't you up yet? It doesn't matter if you don't get up, who are your confidants? Luo Ning said and cut it down again, but this time with Reiatsu, the soul of the big snake was cut off by Luo Ning directly, and the fruit ability naturally disappeared. Beheading can't kill him, but the injuries on his body are still there, and Kurozumi's recovery can't perfectly recover his injuries. In the case of beheading, he can guarantee that he will not die. After Luo Ning glanced at the big snake, he directly chopped off the big snake's head. You guys are really dark enough to attack, especially when you hide. Luo Ning glanced at the Kurozumi Orochi on the ground. In fact, this thing is nothing more than a few more heads, and beheading is useless to the Kurozumi Orochi. Seeing that Luo Ning shot so simply, the others were a little puzzled. They left this guy with the last breath and planned to let Luo Ning operate it. As a result, Luo Ning directly killed this guy. Okay, it's done, then you can die. Chapter 142 Kaido woke up and the enemy came to the door. Open black lens bracket, subscribe close black lens bracket. Although the fruit of Kurozumi Orochi has good abilities, but this fruit Luo Ning felt annoying when he saw it, and he didn't touch the fruit at this moment. There is still a soul fruit in his hand that no one eats. So this time killing the big snake, Luo Ning didn't get the big snake's fruit out. After killing Orochi, Luo Ning imagined the list and the appearance of these people into a booklet and handed it to Kazuki Hiyori. The same booklet was then handed over to Marco et al. These two books, the one in Kazuki Hiyori's hand, is the list of Orochi's henchmen and the specific address information, etc. As for the other one, it is the specific news of Kaido's subordinates at Wano-kuni. These need to be handled by you, Marco. Because there are still a lot of people sent by Kaido, Luo Ning needs Marco and the others to deal with it. Leave it to me, it's just some little, 883. Marco read the booklet with his brothers, and after remembering these positions, everyone dispersed and left. Instead of dealing with Kaido, they killed all of Kaido's people in this country. Just go for Kaido later. Hearing Marco's assurance, Luo Ning's face was also a little weird. You know, there is another 5 emperors in this Wano-kuni, the Bat 5 emperors. One thing to say, Luo Ning was really disgusted by the operation of the animation production team. It was really hard water. At worst, he could stop for a while. The result, all kinds of water make people not want to continue watching, and the comics are better. Because this bad dragged Luffy and others for a long time in the anime, it took Luffy and Zoro to fight together for a long time before they turned it dry, which led to the bad being nicknamed the 5 emperors. To be honest, this kind of guy, Luffy, directly opened an armed cover, ignoring the opponent's ability at all, and just rushed up and punched it. I didn't expect that I knew only a small number of people. Hiyori looked at this booklet helplessly. She also recorded many people in this booklet, but she didn't expect to hide many people. There are even a small part of these people who are the opposite of Kurozumi Orochi. Usually it's just acting. Although Kurozumi Orochi is ugly, I have to say that this guy is indeed a barely passable villain. His biggest problem is that his strength is too weak, so that he is eaten to death by Kaido. Kurozumi Orochi has done a series of operations from forbearance to using Kazuki Oden, and then to seek the position of general. In short, it can be said that he has done a very good job, and he also cooperated with Kaido to target Kazuki Oden, which he cannot deal with. Knowing the wonderful character of Kazuki Oden, he borrowed the people of Wano-kuni to threaten Kazuki Oden to buy himself time and almost wiped out the family that supported the Kazuki family. By the time Kazuki Oden reacted, it was already too late. In fact, Kurozumi Orochi is indeed a tolerant hero. This is somewhat similar to Blackbeard, but now that Teach has left the Whitebeard pirates, he probably won't have a part in Dark Fruit in the future. Blackbeard without Dark Fruit is really mediocre. After all, he was injured by Luffy in Impel Down. At that time, Luffy's strength was up to that of Vice Admiral, and it was just the average one. Those who were stronger in the headquarters, Luffy was no match for any of them, and the result of being blown up was the result of being hammered. Advertisement. It can be seen that Blackbeard's strength can only be regarded as average, not particularly strong. The night passed quickly, and the next morning, on the tallest building in Wano-kuni, the body of the big snake was hung here, which made the people of the entire flower capital stunned. Unexpectedly, Orochi, who was a general, died, and then Kazuki Hiyori revealed his identity. As a member of the Kazuki family, Kazuki Hiyori surprised more people after revealing his identity. Denjiro, who was lurking beside Orochi to protect Kazuki Hiyori, also regained his identity and lost the title of Kushiro. This series of operations directly led to Kazuki Hiyori winning the title of general, and Kaido people in other areas were also beaten up by Marco and others. Even the Rabbit Bowl was directly breached by Marco and others. As for the defenders inside and Quinn stationed here, they were also beaten to pieces. Originally, Quinn wanted to escape, and escaping with his ability is not a big problem, but Marco and others knew about the situation of the bowl, and they also knew that Quinn was here. So after solving the other places, joined together to attack the free bowl. Although Quinn is strong, he can't withstand the beatings of so many captains. Even if he wanted to run, he couldn't run away. After all, Marco can fly. How can he compare the guy who runs on the ground with the guy who flies in the sky? He was soon beaten by a group of captains under Whitebeard. At this moment, Quinn was also firmly locked by the Seastone chain. They usually use it on other people, but now they use it themselves. Those who were locked in the rabbit bowl were also released. Kawamatsu got out of trouble because of this, and then the group came to the capital of flowers to join the crowd. It was so exciting to see Kazuki Hiyori's Kawamatsu again. For this, Kazuki Hiyori is also very guilty. After all, she left without saying goodbye, and then a series of things happened to Kawamatsu. Knowing that Hisong was imprisoned and had to eat a poisonous fish to survive every day, he cried so much. Kaido probably received the news at this time, so there should be someone who can pass the news to Ghost Island. After everyone gathered together, Whitebeard also spoke. Just as he said, Kaido is in a daze at this moment, because he has indeed received the news, and when he wakes up, he finds that all his people in Wano Kuni have been killed. What is taken down is taken down. Even Whitebeard and Luo Ning did not know when they had gone to Wano 3.2. What the hell is going on here? Didn't the newspaper say that Whitebeard is still staying in his own territory? Even this Luo Ning is the same, why did he come to our territory as soon as he woke up? Kaido's nose is crooked now, he suspects that he was played by intelligence personnel. I've confirmed it before. The spies in the Whitebeard Kingdom did send back such information. It should be false. They came after us, leaving behind a false self to confuse our sight. Jin also had nothing to say, never thought that the people in the Whitebeard Kingdom were all fake. The real person had already come to Wano Kuni, and even snatched Wano Kuni from them, and Quinn was also arrested. Alright, it's outrageous. Chapter 143 Kazuki Hiyori. When did I have a father? Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Governor Kaido, Whitebeard and others have landed on the island of ghosts. Just when Kaido was still in a daze, those younger brothers came to report that Whitebeard and others had arrived on the island of ghosts at this moment. At this moment, Kaido has not fully reacted yet, and as a result, such a thing happened. What? Already arrived at Ghost Island? How could it be so fast? Kaido was completely taken aback. Isn't this a little too fast? They obviously came prepared this time. Let's go first, not to mention that old man Whitebeard is difficult to deal with. Luo Ning is not something we can deal with. Jin couldn't help but said, now they don't have the strength to fight each other at all. The elites on Whitebeard's side dispatched collectively, plus Whitebeard, is enough to make them burn out, let alone Luo Ning. The weight of Luo Ning alone is much heavier than the entire pirate group of Whitebeard. Governor Kaido, it's bad, our pirate ships were destroyed by Whitebeard's people. Just when Kaido decided to run away, another message came suddenly, and Kaido's face turned green. 21. Without the pirate ship, he can run away by himself, but what about the others? What about the others? Jin can also fly, and at worst, he can also run, and Kaido's ability can even move the ghost island away, but now Luo Ning and the others are on this ghost island, so what's the use of moving the island? Kaido's face green is weird. Damn Whitebeard, and Luo Ning, it's so deceiving. Although Kaido's violent temper is insidious, he is also irritated now. Once this person gets angry, he will lose his mind, and Jin, who is calmer, knows that the White Hand pirates are doomed this time after seeing this scene. On the other side, Luo Ning and others who had just destroyed the ship stopped at this moment because a strange thing appeared in front of them. A person blocked their way. Why do you say that this person is a weirdo? Because this person is called Yamato. Yamato is Kaido's daughter, but because he saw Kazuki Oden's actions when he was a child, he became very adored by Kazuki Oden, and even called himself Kazuki Oden, and wanted to become Kazuki Oden's heir. This made Kaido depressed. This is his daughter, what happened? As a result, Yamato turned his elbow out at such a young age, and also hated Kaido because of this incident. This is her father. Of course, Kaido's father was also a violent person, and he beat up Yamato directly. At that time, Yamato was still a kid, and he was directly beaten up by Kaido. It can only be said that Kaido is also a wonderful father. If it were any other father, who would beat his daughter so much? Kaido took 2, Yin took 8. Why do you say that? Orochi adores Kazuki Oden, even to a twisted level. His father has never treated her badly. Of course, after all, Kaido is a pirate and likes to play some dirty tricks. So there is nothing wrong with drinking and worshipping other people. Although Kaido also put explosive handcuffs on Yamato in the later stage, this thing is completely nonsense in Luo Ning's view. Who doesn't know armament hockey in the later stage, and Yamato's armament hockey is not weak. Advertisement. Although she is an ability user, but armament hockey is not an ability, so naturally it is useless, and Yamato's injured handcuffs don't have much restraint effect, they just have a bomb inside. Yamato protected himself with armament hockey, it was useless to blow it up. People in pirate world don't use armed colors, although they are not very strong, but using armed colors is 2 concepts. Armament hockey has reached the level of Yamato, so he doesn't have to worry about this kind of explosion at all. Yamato actually thought that Kaido would kill him. This is outrageous. What kind of bomb is so powerful? Yamato's combat power is no less than that of the 3 disasters. With a bomb that can kill the 3 disasters, Kaido would have ruled the world long ago. And the filial son Yamato has been fighting and making trouble with his father from the beginning to the end. From the point of view of both father and daughter, Kaido has a relatively small proportion of problems, and Yamato has more weird personality. Of course, from the point of view that Yamato is not used to Kaido's identity as a pirate, it has nothing to do with it. Yamato's operation has a good name, which is called killing relatives with righteousness. In short, in Luo Ning's opinion, it's just that Yamato is not a star. Now after Yamato blocked their way and learned of Kazuki Hiyori's identity, Yamato immediately dropped his weapon and hugged Kazuki Hiyori, and said in his mouth that this was her daughter. This series of operations has fooled Whitebeard and others, as well as Kazuki Hiyori. She really didn't know when she had a father, and this father seems to be a woman, which is outrageous to the extreme. What the hell is going on here? Nami asked with some doubts. She was also shocked. Hasn't Kazuki Hiyori's father been dead for many years? Why did another one appear? And it's a woman, which is outrageous. I don't know either, but Luo Ning should know 047 very well. After Robin spoke, Baby 5 and others collectively looked at Luo Ning, including Whitebeard and others, and now they are also very confused. At first they thought it was the enemy, but when they met, they dropped their weapons and claimed that he was Kazuki Hiyori's father. Now this operation made them even more confused. How do you say it? Actually, this guy is called Yamato, Kaido's daughter, but because she met Kazuki Oden when she was a child, she admires Kazuki Oden very much. Even regarded himself as Kazuki Oden, so that Kaido often had conflicts with her, and even planted 2 bombs in her hand. Because he calls himself Kazuki Oden, Yamato thinks that Kazuki Oden's children are also his children, so this scene appears. Luo Ning explained it again. This kind of explanation made him feel toothache, let alone other people. Am I still awake? No, doesn't Kaido have a son? Where did the daughter come from? Marco and others raised questions again. Because Yamato worships Kazuki Oden, he feels that he is a man. As for Kaido, he also raised Yamato as his son, and declared that he is his son. It's as simple as that. Luo Ning waved his hand. This family is so weird, he can't help it. Chapter 144 The Filial Daughter Yamato. I will take the lead in the charge. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. So, are you really still Kaido's daughter? Although she knew that the other party worshipped her father, and even claimed that the other party was her father, Kazuki Hiyori said that she really did not have the habit of casually identifying her father, and this father was still a girl. Who are you to know me so well? At this time Yamato also let go of Kazuki Hiyori, and then removed the mask from his own face. After taking off the mask on his face, Yamato's appearance also appeared in front of everyone. Undoubtedly, Yamato is still a beautiful woman, and she still has white hair. Well, this white hair is indeed a special attack on Luo Ning, although the other party has some problems in his mind. That guy Kaido can give birth to such a beautiful daughter. Whitebeard was also a little speechless. How could that guy with a sloppy face have such genes? It must have inherited his mother's genes. I do know a lot about you, and I also know that you can take off the handcuffs right now. Luo Ning said. No, there's a bomb in here, and it will explode if you dismantle it. Yamato shook his head. How powerful do you think the bomb inside is? You know armament hockey, and it's not weak. You wrap yourself in armament hockey. Are you still afraid of this kind of thing? Luo Ning had a toothache, and it was true that there was something wrong with his brain, otherwise he wouldn't have thought of this. You must know that Yamato can even use Conqueror's Winding, and his armed color is also very powerful. Armed color. These people can easily cover their whole body, even if it is a secondary card. Even the bullet can wrap a 1,000-meter-long Titan's body in armed colors, and it's perverted to the extreme. It's just that few people do this method of wrapping the whole body, because it's useless at all. The top powerhouses use it to strengthen the arms at most, and rarely use it to strengthen the whole body. Can you still do this? Yamato asked in a daze. This question also made the people on Whitebeard's side have a toothache. Sure enough, there is something wrong with their brains. Even Kazuki Hiyori looked at Yamato with a kind of pity. She didn't blame him for what he did just now. After all, the other party has mental problems, serious illnesses, and is a stubborn person, so it is better to forgive the other party. But at this time, Yamato didn't care about these gazes, but directly wrapped himself in armed colors, and then dismantled the bomb. The power of this bomb can undoubtedly kill her in a defenseless state. But with the protection of armed color, this bomb is naturally useless. At this moment, Yamato did not show the collapsed expression in the original book, thinking that Kaido really planned to kill her. Now I can finally go to sea, that guy don't want to stop me anymore. At this moment, Yamato shouted excitedly. Now I suddenly feel that Kaido is a bit pitiful. Why did he give birth to such a wonderful daughter? Even Joe's, who is full of muscles in his head, can't stand it anymore. He really has nothing to say. I think it's better for you not to choose to leave directly. After all, the ship has been destroyed by us now, and you don't have any sailing knowledge. The only possibility after going to sea is to die in the sea. Luo Ning is really bragging. If Yamato is not capable, then with her strength, as long as she is given a foothold, she can survive in the sea. Advertisement. But Yamato is an ability user, and he is also a phantom beast. Dog fruit phantom beast Oguchi true god form. What do you say? As a person with abilities, after entering the sea, he is basically useless. What you said seems to be right. Yamato's brain has never thought about so many problems. Luo Ning thinks that Yamato belongs to the type that is sold and will help count the money. This has gone beyond the category of being silly, and it can be called a disease with a cause. By the way, I haven't asked what you are doing here. At this time, Yamato remembered the purpose of asking this group of people. To deal with Kaido, Luo Ning replied, while Marco and the others were a little wary. Although Yamato was seriously ill, in their view, Yamato was still Kaido's daughter, so they might have to do something. Are you going to deal with that guy? Then add me. I'll take you there. At this moment, Yamato built his mace and said excitedly, I have to say that Yamato is seriously ill, and a group of people here are going to hate her father, but what happened to Yamato? He even took the lead in the charge. As expected of Kaido's filial daughter, Luo Ning is really filial. What? Basically everyone here thinks that Yamato is seriously ill. But there is also, and now Whitebeard can't help but say something to Whitebeard. So Kazuki Hiyori also came along, and after Yamato knew her identity before, there was such a scene. Along the way, the group also asked Yamato some questions, which reconfirmed that Yamato was indeed seriously ill. Quote. What's the matter? Aren't you looking for trouble with that guy? I want to trouble him too, let's go. But before everyone reached Kaido, a huge green dragon appeared in the sky. Okay, don't talk about it, do you know how to care for seriously ill patients? Whitey Bay is also a little speechless. Yamato's operation is really a weird one. Anyway, it's the first time she has seen such an existence when she grows up. How could she do such a thing without a serious illness? Whitebeard, who was also filial, looked at his daughter, Whitebeard, the Ice Witch. In the Whitebeard pirates, they are basically men, and there are very few female members like Whitebeard. Widub, don't learn from Yamato in the future, do you understand? In desperation, Luo Ning had already brought some oil bottles anyway, so it would not be a problem to bring another one. The first half of Luo Ning's sentence was originally nothing, but the second half, Zhao Zhaohao, once again caught everyone's waist. Marco and the others had already planned to do it, but Yamato's operation almost made them lose their waists. What kind of operation is this? But since the other party wanted to lead the way, they naturally were not polite, and the group quickly followed the doctor. But Kazuki Hiyori said, to watch the person who killed his father be defeated by the demon. Dad, don't worry, I won't get such a serious illness. Originally, Kazuki Hiyori should have stayed in Wano-kuni logically, and the few Red Sheath 9 heroes have found now have such an idea. Seeing the weird appearance of this group of people, Yamato was also a little puzzled, but soon she didn't care, and chose to lead the way. Chapter 145 Father's Kindness and Daughter's Filial Piety Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Yamato, you brought the enemy to us. Kaido also saw Whitebeard and others. After seeing Yamato who took the lead in the direction they were going, Kaido said that he had already felt Yamato's filial piety, which is really too filial. Today I will lead them to liberate Wano-kuni and defeat you. Yamato didn't talk nonsense, and rushed up directly with a mace in his hand. Kaido didn't hold back either, and directly transformed into a human animal form, and Yamato also transformed into a human animal form. The human beast form is Zone's strongest form, but the simple animal form is not. Kaido's dragon body is too large to be suitable for melee combat, so at this moment he directly changed into a human beast form and fought Yamato. Are these really father and daughter? The shot is so ruthless. The two people's way of fighting without holding back their hands made everyone's teeth ache. This is really a filial piety from a father to a daughter, and it can be called a model in the world of father and daughter. Brother Luo Ning, why don't you intervene and don't let them fight? Nami couldn't help but said that Yamato and Kaido are father and daughter, and it turned out that the fight was outrageous. In Nami's opinion, at least Yamato should not be accused of patricide. After listening to Nami's words, the others also nodded. Whitebeard, are you coming or am I? Luo Ning looked at Whitebeard. I'll come first. I've wanted to beat up this B************** D for a long time. Back then, he made trouble for me a lot. Whitebeard was also unambiguous, and directly shot. Kaido often troubled him after he came, but Kaido is another immune to death Xiaoqiang, and he is extremely slippery, and he can fly. This made Whitebeard have nothing to do with this product for a while, and of course, Kaido also had nothing to do with Whitebeard. But Whitebeard is also annoying. Now that he has regained his combat power, Whitebeard will inevitably plan to beat this guy up. Of course, if he wants to defeat Kaido, it will take a few days. And even the current Whitebeard doesn't dare to say that he can kill Kaido. If Kaido wants to run away, Whitebeard can't stop him. The strength gap between the two sides is not very big, unless Whitebeard can crush Kaido, but Kaido is also at its peak now. Whitebeard can beat the opponent, but cannot kill the opponent. Yamato, stand back. After Whitebeard joined the battle group, Yamato couldn't bear the strength of the two of them. Although Yamato is strong, it is true that he cannot compete with Kaido. She can hurt Kaido, but the injury is not painful to Kaido. There are many people who can injure Kaido, but Yin still can't do it if he wants to inflict substantial damage on him. Old man Whitebeard, are you impatient to be in the coffin? Seeing that Whitebeard dared to fight against himself, Kaido was puzzled. Although he dare not say that he fully understands Whitebeard's situation, Whitebeard has not much strength left. So every time he didn't choose to confront him head on, this time Whitebeard rushed over directly. Kaido boy, this time Laozi is here to take your head. Whitebeard didn't talk nonsense, the Conquerors was entwined on Kong Yunchi, and he cut it off directly. When Kaido saw this scene, he wrapped his Conquerors on the mace, and then a thunderous 8 trigrams blasted out. This is a trick that can help Luffy quit his addiction. The power of the two collided, and the terrifying force directly shattered the clouds in the sky. At this moment, the sky seemed to have a huge hole. Advertisement. Amazing. Yamato was also dumbfounded watching from the sidelines. This 4 Emperors level collision is not something she can participate in now. After a collision, Whitebeard once again raised Kong Yunchi in his hand, and this time it was covered with a layer of white halo, which was Whitebeard's shock fruit ability. Not only the shock fruit, but also a Conqueror's wrapped around it. Under the double power, Kaido was a little surprised seeing this scene. However, he still blasted with all his strength, and a more terrifying aftermath erupted than before, and the entire Ghost Island was constantly shaking under this blow. And because Whitebeard used the ability of shock fruit this time, the entire island was shaken to the point of collapse, as if it might fall apart at any time. This time, the collision has suffered a lot. B asterisk 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 D Whitebeard, old B asterisk 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 D, your body can still exert such strength, were you kidding me before? Kaido was really startled and angry. The power of Whitebeard's two knives was exaggerated. This is not the old immortal in his impression that he doesn't have much strength. The fighting power is almost the same as it was at its peak. Hula lala, stop talking nonsense, and eat Laozi again. Whitebeard didn't care about so much, he stabbed again and again. You must know that Whitebeard's combat power in this area is also quite terrifying. He doesn't completely rely on his shock fruit ability. Without his ability, he could use his dying body to hammer Blackbeard to the point of crying. If it weren't for the fact that he was soft in the end, Blackbeard would have died in his hands. The last time he didn't fight because Blackbeard begged for mercy, but the last time he was really exhausted. To be honest, there were obviously traces of hands left at the end. Whitebeard's body finally reached the limit, but his fist was from top to bottom. Unless he deliberately stopped himself, the punch would definitely go down. Just like a free fall, unless something is caught by an external force, how can it stop? The fist has already been punched, and it is not easy to take it back, but Whitebeard stopped directly when he was about to touch Blackbeard, and the stop was very abrupt. It would be hell to say that this guy didn't keep his hands. As Whitebeard slashed down with one knife after another, the shock in the whole place became more and more intense. In the end, the collapse began directly from the edge. It is not an exaggeration for Whitebeard's ability to be called a natural disaster, and it is completely an environment destroyer. The island of ghosts can't hold it anymore. Marco and the others were also terrified. The collapse of the island will happen sooner or later, and there is no way to stop it, unless Whitebeard stops now. But is this possible? Obviously impossible. Fantasy, land of steel. Luo Ning injected the power of fantasy into the earth, making the hardness of the land even more terrifying than steel. In this way, they can barely resist the childishness of these two people. Others can naturally feel the change in the hardness of the earth. After all, the collapse has temporarily stopped. Moreover, the hardness is completely different from what is visible to the naked eye, and the vibration has been weakened a little. Chapter 146 Kaido. Whitebeard, you are bullying the small. Laozi is no longer playing open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. So strong, the whole land has become almost like steel. Marco and the others squeezed it with their hands out of curiosity, and it turned out that the hardness of the land was beyond their imagination. This hand did not even crush the clods of soil, but only made a handprint. Of course, he did not use all his strength, otherwise in the world of pirates, holding iron into mud is simply a routine operation that can no longer be routine. But that's enough to delay Onishima's collapse, at least not by the aftermath of the Whitebeard-Kaido fight. That's good. That's amazing. Seeing Kaido and Whitebeard's full-force collision, Yamato now knows that although his own strength is good, he is still far behind such a top player. The combat power of 4 Emperors and Admiral can be said to be a qualitative review. No matter how Luffy defeated Shichibukai before, no matter how he defeated a strong enemy, but in front of the 4 Emperors, he hammered for a long time without breaking the defense, and finally was defeated by them in seconds. This gap in strength is simply exaggerated to the extreme. To be honest, it is right that Brother Ming will be defeated by Aokiji. With Brother Ming's strength, he can fight Luffy after awakening, and Luffy needs to open the 4th gear to beat Brother Ming. But Luffy, who is in the same situation as Ultraman, is no match for Brother Ming in a protracted battle. Of course, Luffy's strength has also improved a little after the ravages of Cake Island in the later stage. At that time, he probably had an easy time dealing with Brother Ming, but what about Aokiji? One move directly freezes Brother Ming. I thought it was a bit silly at first, but when Admiral and 4 Emperors are at the same level, this kind of operation is also acceptable. Kaido can beat Luffy in 4th gear with one move, why can't Aokiji beat Brother Ming? This gap in strength is really too big. This battle lasted for several hours. Yes, such a fierce battle is basically timed by minutes in other worlds, but the world of pirates is so weird. Whitebeard and Kaido have been fighting for hours. For a few hours, Kaido, who was already at a disadvantage, was suppressed miserably by Whitebeard, and even suffered a lot of injuries from Whitebeard. As for Whitebeard, there were almost no injuries on his body. Kaido's attack can't hit Whitebeard at all, and Whitebeard's attack Kaido can't completely block. This made Kaido extremely depressed. With the previous Whitebeard, he could drag the other party to death, but this Whitebeard, like a monster, can't be beaten at all. Whitebeard, you are bullying the small. Laozi is not playing anymore. Kaido is also playing tricks at this moment, and has entered a complete beast form from a human animal form, that is, Xinglong Kaido. Turning into a blue dragon, Kaido flew into the sky, which blinded Whitebeard. Whitebeard can't fly, and although his ability has a very wide range of influence, but such a high sky, his power can't cause any damage to Kaido. This is the gap between those who can fly and those who can't fly. Those who can fly can easily suppress those who can't. Even though there was a gap in strength between the two sides before, the current situation really makes Whitebeard very helpless. Kaido, who flew into the sky, opened his mouth and spewed out a mouthful of flame breath. Kaido's flame breath is so powerful that basically a mountain will disappear once it is spouted out, and it can be spewed out through a mountain. But now he is facing Whitebeard. Before the breath reaches Whitebeard, Kong Yunchi in Whitebeard's hand directly hits him, and Kong Yunchi, who is wrapped in the power of shock fruit, directly shatters Kaido's breath. Countless sparks fell in all directions on the island of ghosts and the surrounding waters of the island of ghosts like a celestial maiden scattered flowers. Kaido kid, what's the matter? If you can't beat him, are you going to be a rascal now? Advertisement. Whitebeard called out to Kaido in the sky, but the words obviously did not surprise Kaido. Winner and loser, Whitebeard, you old man is as stubborn as ever. Kaido said disdainfully, he has always vowed not to give up until he achieves his goal. As for the means, as long as he wins, the others are trivial matters, and now he can fly a kite to kill Whitebeard. So Kaido is very disdainful of Whitebeard's ideas. Really, why do you think your opponent is only Whitebeard? Whitebeard, you should go out, and I will take over. Luo Ning did not know when he had arrived in front of Kaido. After seeing Luo Ning, Whitebeard quickly withdrew his weapon. Asking for flowers. Then leave it to you. This B asterisk 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 D is flying in the sky, I really can't do anything about him. In this state, Whitebeard's front hard steel Kaido can defeat it, but Kaido can fly, so it will become a competition of physical strength in the future, and physical strength is the biggest shortcoming of Whitebeard now. It's not an injury to get older, and the decline in physical strength is not an injury, so there is no way to heal at all. He is no match for these young and strong guys in the competition of physical strength. The few hours of fighting just now have exhausted him a lot of physical strength. So now Whitebeard also quit the battlefield very simply, although he really wanted to kill Kaido to avenge Kazuki Oden, but he has nothing to do with Kaido like this. 0. It is too difficult for 4 emperors to kill another 4 emperors, even if he recovers his combat power. Luo Ning. At this moment, Kaido was also attracted by Luo Ning. Seeing this most dreaded guy appearing in front of him, Kaido also had a toothache at this moment. Everyone knows how strong Luo Ning is, and the most important thing is that Whitebeard's character will listen to Luo Ning. Luo Ning really stopped if he told him to stop. Is this the Whitebeard he Kaido knew? This is simply outrageous to the extreme. In fact, he himself was wrong. Now Whitebeard has Luo Ning as a friend, and he really has nothing to do with Kaido, so he might as well just quit. Exactly. To be honest, I'm not happy to see you like this. After all, this kind of dragon still holds a high status in my heart. Luo Ning glanced at Kaido in dragon form. Although Kaido's appearance is not a real blue dragon, but the general appearance is somewhat similar, so Luo Ning will naturally not let this guy go. The purpose this time is also to get the goods. Glancing at Kaido, Luo Ning shot directly, and came directly in front of Kaido at an extremely fast speed, and then punched out. Luo Ning's fist, the power of the fist is completely above the beat. Boom. After taking the punch hard, Kaido's huge body crashed to the ground like a meteor falling. Chapter 147 The seriously injured Kaido open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. The huge body landed on the ground, and the entire Ghost Island shook continuously under the impact. You must know that the island is now in the form of a steel earth, but even so, it swayed like this. As for Kaido, he was already dizzy at the moment, and a lot of blood was oozing from his head. The damage that this punch brought to him was not small at all. It's really exaggerated strength. Kaido was beaten like this with one punch. Seeing Kaido's bloody mess, Whitebeard was honestly a little bit complicated. He couldn't help it. He had fought against Kaido before, and he fought for several hours, although he left Kaido with some scars. But these injuries are not as good as the injuries Kazuki Oden left on Kaido back then. After all, Kazuki Oden back then was already second only to Whitebeard and Roger, and Kaido at that time hadn't yet reached its peak. So Kaido was easily overthrown back then, but Kaido at this peak is no joke. Most of the injuries Whitebeard gave him just now were skin traumas, and a small part of the injuries were left by Kaido's internal organs through the body vibration. But with Luo Ning's punch, Kaido's head was bleeding, and the top of the dragon's head seemed to be deformed. It can be seen that the power of this punch is completely higher than that of Whitebeard just now. This punch did substantial damage to Kaido. At this moment, Kaido's body shrunk rapidly, and he returned to his human form again. At this time, it can be clearly seen that Kaido's forehead has sunken a little, which was deformed by the punch just now. Damn it, this guy. Clutching his forehead, Kaido looked shocked and angry at this moment, but he was helpless. Before, he saw Luo Ning's strength through live broadcast, although he knew that Luo Ning was strong. But now after experiencing it myself, it's another feeling, it's just too strong, right? On the other side, Jin and the others also rushed over, but they were immediately stopped by the captains from Rybird's side. Although Jin's strength is not bad, facing the current group of people, they also suffered a lot from the group fight. The defeat is only a matter of time, and there is still a Whitebeard staring at them, so they can't do it even if they want to run arrive. Thunder 8 trigrams. Seeing that Luo Ning was chasing him down, Kaido directly hit him with a mace. But his mace collided with Luo Ning's fist, and there was only one result in the end, that is, his mace was directly finished, and the weapon was instantly shattered. His arm was also directly twisted and deformed by this blow, and even Luo Ning's fist smashed his ribs. Kaido, who is known as the strongest creature, was really crippled by Luo Ning's punch. But Kaido didn't fall down completely, but stood up again. As expected of Xiao Chang among the Xiao Chang in the pirate world, not to mention the combat power, the vitality is really tenacious. Looking at Kaido at this moment, Luo Ning was a little speechless. The vitality of this guy is really too tenacious, almost immune to death. With this kind of injury, the brain was damaged, the ribs were all broken, and the arm had been crippled, but he still stood up, and the other 10 hands were directly punched down. If this kind of injury is placed on a normal person, it is basically not far from death, and it is difficult to move, but when placed on a monster like Kaido, it can still move and continue to fight. Advertisement. The key is that the strength of this fist is not weak enough. Luo Ning didn't care about these anymore, and punched out again. This punch was aimed at Kaido's head. If this punch hit, Kaido's basic mountain would be gone. But just as Luo Ning's fist was approaching the opponent's head, a black shadow flashed out and blocked Kaido's front. Luo Ning's fist also stopped immediately. Yamato, you have to know that not everyone can hold their fists. You should be thankful that I didn't try my best, otherwise you would be a dead man. Luo Ning looked at Yamato and said, he sensed the moment Yamato approached. In addition, he didn't use his full strength, so he stopped the punch now. If it were someone else, even Whitebeard wouldn't be able to stop his attack so easily. After all, this kind of force is relative. If you use all your strength, if you want to stop, you must either attack the target, or resist the impact yourself. I'm so sorry, but Kaido is my father, I can't watch him being beaten to death by you. Yamato said, although she was very upset with this father, and she also had some mental problems. Now his state is very poor. Although he still has the ability to fight, facing Luo Ning, his current state is no different from his heyday, so he should lie down honestly and find an opportunity to escape later. Luo Ning didn't talk nonsense, and Yamato didn't stop him this time. After all, what Kaido did made her disgusted, so she didn't have much reaction to seeing her father go to jail, as long as he didn't die. It's nothing, two will be imprisoned in the deep-sea prison from now on. As for Kaido's territory, it is very simple to let Whitebeard and Katakuri take over it. Kaido didn't react when he heard that he would be sent to the deep-sea prison. He was caught not once or twice. In his opinion, it was enough to escape later. He didn't believe that an Impel down could lock him up. And Kaido didn't think about killing Yamato, so the relationship between father and daughter was not completely broken. Nor do you necessarily need people from Kaido to build a country. After Yamato stopped the punch, Taya finally couldn't bear it and fell to the ground. Boom. Luo Ning originally planned to let Yamato take over Kaido's territory and then build a country based on it, but after thinking about it carefully, this is simply nonsense. Forget it, I'll take this guy back to Impel down later, so I'll spare his life, but Yamato, I need. Forget it, pretend I didn't say it. Even she can directly attack Kaido, but this does not mean that Yamato can watch Kaido die, which she cannot do yet. It was harder to let her stay than to kill her, so she just shut up halfway through the settlement. Yamato himself was tired of staying in one place, and he only thought about going to sea. Ah, what are you going to say? Luo Ning's fist, in addition to hurting his bones, also hurt his flesh and blood. Yamato asked a little naively. In some respects, Yamato's personality is also 2.3, which is somewhat similar to Luffy, lacking a root in his mind. Chapter 148 Luo Ning. Want to escape? Totally impossible. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Seeing Kaido's state, Luo Ning also knew what this guy was thinking, but he would not let Kaido escape. Coming to Kaido, Luo Ning injected the power of fantasy into Kaido's body, and directly modified Kaido's bone hardness. Of course, instead of directly turning into the biscuit-hard bones of the ghost spider, the hardness of its bones was reduced. What are you doing? Kaido asked a little confused. I modified the hardness of the bones in your body. Now you can still walk and move like a normal person, but this is already the limit. Use more strength than this. Your body will simply collapse. Quote. Luo Ning said, this is a restraint for Kaido. Once excessive force is applied, Kaido's body will collapse directly. This is like an invisible shackle, which directly makes it impossible for Kaido to escape from Impel down. No. You can't do that. Kaido was really desperate this time, he even tried to force his hand, but the other arm made a cracking sound, the bone broke, and the arm just drooped down like this. I've said 21, you've been overexerted, your bones are now the hardest to support your body movements, remember, it's the most. Luo Ning no longer cares about Kaido, and then let Zephyr come to pick them up. As for the other beasts pirates, Luo Ning burst out with a terrifying Reiatsu. Reiatsu directly swept the entire Weiji Island. Everyone in the White Hand Pirates was knocked down at this moment, and they started with free points, but what made Luo Ning helpless was that these free points were not enough for the next lottery draw, and the 4 emperors were swiped again, but the result was still not enough. A little more than needed last time. Afterwards, all the beasts pirates were captured, and Luo Ning imagined that a lot of labor came out and captured them. This is also a very easy thing, everyone is imprisoned on this ghost island, and then let Zephyr and the others take people to Impel down. To be honest, the Impel down is probably overcrowded. Luo Ning thinks that he should find a time to re-expand the Impel down, otherwise the number of criminals may directly explode the Impel down. Everything is finally over, so Wano Kuni can also start a country. Yamato said in a rather iron-faced manner, and everyone around couldn't see his words, especially Kazuki Hiyori. She wondered if her father had brainwashed Yamato back then, why did she worship her father so much? This is more fanatics than fanatics, and she is honestly afraid that the other party will pester her. Although Yamato is an ally, the key is that this ally wants to be her father, which is very embarrassing. It's over, Shao Hiyori, after that, you have to find a way to stabilize Wano Kuni. As for your big brother Momonosuke, even if he comes back, don't give him the position. Whitebeard is well aware of the importance of bonds, and Kazuki Hiyori has done a lot of things over the years. She can be recognized by others, but Momonosuke can't. So if you don't want Momonosuke to be directly swept away in the end or Wano Kuni will fall into chaos again, don't let Momonosuke become the real leader. Not to mention that Momonosuke was only 8 years old at that time, what can Momonosuke do? Advertisement. In this regard, Kazuki Hiyori also nodded, not because she thinks too much, but now the whole Wano-kuni wants her to become a general. Although this is a female general, there is no rule in Wano-kuni that a woman cannot be a general. In a few years, when Momonosuke comes to this time, the whole Wano-kuni will support Kazuki Hiyori very much, even if Momonosuke wants to be in the top position. Leaving a few captains here watching the Beast's pirates, everyone else went back to Wano-kuni. Afterwards, a series of information was released from Morgan's, and it was announced that Wano-kuni was founded and became one of the countries that joined Impel down. In this way, no one would dare to make trouble in Wano-kuni. As for Orochi's confidants and subordinates, they were quickly dealt with by the Red Sheath 9 heroes. It took only 1 week for the entire Wano-kuni to recover a lot, but it takes a long time to improve the environment and rebuild some buildings. After all, Orochi and Kaido made the whole Wano-kuni a mess. The seastone industry has also stopped. There is no way, because there is no way to deal with the various sewage discharged, so these things can only be stopped, otherwise the situation will deteriorate further. Fortunately, there is a seastone industry in Wano-kuni. Although there is pollution, Kaido has left a lot of money and some finished goods. After they have nothing to sell, they can earn enough money to improve the environment. It will take some time, but it's better than nothing else. After going through this series of changes, Wano-kuni has also improved a lot, but on this day, Luo Ning suddenly received a message. Someone looking for me. Who? There was news from Kazuki Hiyori that someone wanted to meet Luo Ning. After Luo Ning thought about it, it seemed that there was no one he knew here. He is a samurai, very strong, although he is a blind man. There was also news from Kazuki Hiyori. Luo Ning was taken aback when he heard the news, and then he remembered Fujitora. In the original book, Fujitora is one of the admirals that Marine recruited through the world conscription. It can be said that it is an airborne admiral. It can be seen that admiral's rank on Marine's side is actually not much linked to credit, otherwise the 2 airborne Green Bull and Fujitora would not be able to take admiral's position. At that time, Akainu became the marshal, and Aokiji withdrew directly, leaving only Kizaru in admiral, so the world conscription started to recruit a new admiral. The current Marine is actually similar, the admiral that can be used as Kizaru. As for Aokiji, he suffers from severe pain every day. It's not that Luo Ning targeted this product, who told this product to hit him at the beginning, so it's no wonder that Luo Ning's soul was damaged. Marine is also lacking in combat power now, but Marine did not conduct world conscription like the original book. After all, their reputation has been ruined by Luo Ning, so the effect of their enlistment in the world is not much better. Luo Ning did not expect to run into Fujitora in Wano-kuni now. But it seems right when you think about it. Fujitora's dress is only seen by people who go out from Wano-kuni, so it's not surprising that Fujitora also went out from Wano-kuni, and it's not unacceptable to meet Fujitora in Wano-kuni now, it's reasonable. Chapter 149 Fujitora's Refuge Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Knowing that the person who wanted to see me was Fujitora, Luo Ning also asked someone to bring him here directly. If it were someone else, Luo Ning might not be able to meet, but Fujitora had to meet. After all, Fujitora's character is very cute in the original book. Fujitora has his own sense of justice. The biggest difference between him and the past 3 admirals is that he will do what he thinks is right. When Ming couldn't shoot, he would block Birdcage, and even tried to destroy Birdcage with meteorites. However, Brother Ming's Birdcage is really powerful, causing his meteorite to be cut directly. In fact, Fujitora never used his full strength from the beginning to the end, whether he was fighting Sabo or fighting with others. He bet his hopes on Luffy. To be honest, if Luffy failed completely, then Fujitora would definitely strike without hesitation and defeat Brother Ming directly. He would not watch so many people die in front of him. Afterwards, he took Marine's people to kneel down. Why did he kneel down? Naturally, it was because he felt that the series of operations he performed as Marine did not conform to his own concept of justice. He didn't take action in time, so he felt a little guilty, and this series of things was indeed caused by the indulgence of Marine and world government, so he led people to kneel. But this time he knelt down more because his behavior was different from his own concept of justice. It's just that he knelt down as Marine Admiral, so he was reprimanded by Akainu for a while. As for Luffy and the others, they were also deliberately let go by this guy in the end, otherwise he wanted to really target Luffy and the others, and just wipe out Luffy and the others' ships in one go. Why bother? He just made an excuse, and the people at De Reis Rosa at that time were his excuses. Throughout the story, within Marine, the one with the highest sense of justice is this Fujitora, who dares to act. Soon, Fujitora came to the place where Luo Ning lived under the leadership of Hisong. It's the first time we meet, I don't know how to call you. Luo Ning knows that Fujitora is called Yishao, but Luo Ning does not know his real name. Fujitora is the name after he became Marine Admiral. According to the situation of Fujitora, the name is not. Of course, there is also a translation that is a lifetime, but in fact they are all the same. Just tell me to smile. As for the specific surname, I have already forgotten it. Fujitora spoke. Okay, Mr. Yishao, I don't know why you came to see me. Luo Ning doesn't bother with this issue anymore, the name is just a code name, it doesn't matter what people call it. I want to join Mr. Luo Ning's command. Fujitora was very straightforward and directly stated his purpose. Join my subordinate. Mr. Yishao can go to Impel down, why should you join my subordinate? Luo Ning asked with a smile, he almost knew the reason, but he needed Fujitora to answer his own question. It's too far to go directly to Impel down. Although I wanted to go there before, but due to the distance and other reasons, it was delayed. This time, I happened to meet His Excellency Luo Ning at Impel Down, so I joined directly. As for why you want to join, maybe it's because your ideology is similar to this one's. My eyes are blinded because I don't want to see some filth in this world. Advertisement. Although it didn't play much role in the end, on the contrary, I saw some ugliness that I didn't want to see even more, but what you have done is the justice that I yearn for, so I want to be your subordinate. Fujitora spoke. After hearing what Fujitora said, Luo Ning was a little funny. Fujitora's eyes were not used to seeing the ugliness of this world, so he added his own blindness, but the situation became more serious afterwards. After one sense disappears, the other sense will continue to improve. After all, people can't see it, so they will deliberately use other senses to perceive. Luo Ning remembered that before he crossed over, he had seen the kind of person who gave up his eyesight in order to exercise his hearing, and finally caused his eyesight to seriously degrade. This operation is indeed very strange, but he did it. Fujitora lost his eyes, and his knowledge increased at a frightening rate. In the end, Tang Shu's observation haki gave him the ability to read minds. With this ability, Fujitora saw even more ugliness. After all, many ugly people would choose to cover up and disguise themselves, but in front of Fujitora, this disguise directly became nothingness. This made Fujitora see a lot more ugliness, his blinding his own eyes became redundant. Fujitora said that on Wanokuni's side, he had seen too much injustice and evil before. I'm afraid of reading those disgusting hearts. This can be regarded as a meeting gift from me. Based on your knowledge, the presence or absence of eyes will not make a big difference. Luo Ning said with a smile that the eyes are a very important human organ, but it is not necessarily the case for Fujitora. Regret is because the color of knowledge and knowledge has been raised to such a level, it is better to look at the end with both eyes. But his eyes are already blind, and Fujitora can't do anything about it. Normally, Fujitora dare not show his knowledge. Not counting the franchise countries, in the entire Impel Down force, there is no admiral-level combat power, and the addition of Fujitora just complements this point. Thank you, Your Excellency. No, you should be called an adult. I often hear people talk about your actions. Unfortunately, I can't see my eyes anymore. Otherwise, I really want to see my lord. What does it look like? Quote. Since Mr. Yishao wants to join, then join. Mr. Yishao's strength is also very strong. At least among all my subordinates, Mr. Yishao's strength should be the strongest. But after Luo Ning came, everything is getting better. Luo Ning is equivalent to injecting hope into the country, which makes Fujitora very optimistic about Luo Ning, so he made up his mind, of King Zhao, to come directly to seek refuge. Fujitora himself was also a little surprised. To be honest, he regretted stabbing his eyes, but he didn't regret it. As for Zephyr, although Zephyr's strength is good, even if he heals his body, Zephyr's strength can't reach the admiral level, and his strength has declined the most. Now that his eyes have been repaired, Fujitora is naturally a little surprised. No regrets because he doesn't regret why he stabbed his eyes blind. As Luo Ning said, he left his seat and came to Fujitora, and used the healing ability to directly repair Fujitora's eyes. Actually, it's not that difficult. Fujitora, who saw something again, was also a little confused. Chapter 150 Will recruiting a Tai Han lower the average IQ? Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Thank you, my lord, but my lord is much younger than I imagined. To be able to do such a thing at such an age really makes me feel that all these years have been wasted. Fujitora took a look at Luo Ning and found that Luo Ning was much younger than he thought. In fact, in his understanding, Luo Ning should be a middle-aged person. After all, it is a conservative estimate for a middle-aged person to do such a thing. Although people say that Luo Ning is handsome, seeing it in person is another matter. That's awesome. Then, Mr. Little, Zephyr will come here to pick up the criminals from the Beast's pirates. After that, please go back with Zephyr. With your help, Zephyr can relax a bit. Luo Ning said with a smile, although Zephyr has never complained to himself, but Luo Ning also knows that there is a lot of pressure on his shoulders. It's just that Zephyr enjoyed it, because he felt that the justice of Marine was not in line with his own ideas, and even turned his enemy into Shichibukai. So he chose to leave the Marine layer and join the new Marine. Now he is extremely happy to fight pirates. After all, Luo Ning is here, and the power of Impel Down is here. He doesn't need to care about the face orders of Marine and world government. If he wants to catch pirates, he can catch pirates. Moreover, Luo Ning's one-pass operation in New World directly turned the 4 emperors into an emperor, and also stabilized the situation in New World, without causing New World to fall into chaos, which is very good. In fact, among the New World 4 emperors, the only one that is extremely chaotic is Kaido's territory. Kaido and Big Mom don't need it. After Big Mom forms Wanguo, ordinary people will come in. You only need to give up a period of life. This is a trivial matter for these people. Only Kaido's territory is completely chaotic, but now it has been annexed by Whitebeard and Katakuri, and it is inevitable to integrate the situation. So this wave of Luo Ning hit the pirates and made the situation in New World more stable, which made Zephyr feel very good. Without the stimulus of Wable becoming a Shichibukai, the current Zephyr is not as extreme as in the original book, so he can still accept some things. Marine's predecessor, Admiral Black Arm Zephyr, has indeed heard about it, and I will do my best to assist Your Excellency Zephyr. Fujitora said with a smile. Then take advantage of these few days to rest. After all, you won't have much vacation time after all. Afterwards, Luo Ning continued to chat with Fujitora for a while, and then Fujitora left. According to his words, he would go to gamble. Fujitora can be said to be an old gambler. Of course, Fujitora's betting is usually for fun, it's a very weird operation, and I don't know what this guy is thinking. After Fujitora left, Yamato quickly found Luo Ning. What's the matter? Didn't you stay well here in the capital of flowers? Why do you want me? Luo Ning looked helplessly at the Tai Han in front of him. After getting along for a few days, to be honest, Luo Ning really felt that this guy was a Tai Han, but he was still the same as Luffy in these aspects of obsession. He was really drunk. Well, I want to join your command, can you take me with you when you go to sea? Yamato asked, she was always straight. Why do you suddenly want to join me? If you want to go to sea, you can recruit some crew members. Although Luo Ning had guesses, he was still a little curious, why did this Tai Han want to go with him? Advertisement. I also thought about recruiting crew members before, but it is too difficult to find people, and there are almost no navigators here in Wano Kuni, it is basically impossible to go to sea with me. To be honest, Yamato is also very helpless. Wano Kuni has been closed to the country for so many years. How can there be any navigators? People know they can't get out, so why would they want to learn something that is completely useless? So Yamato couldn't even recruit crew members. That's it, it's really troublesome, but you have to know that if you join my subordinates, you will have to obey orders in the future. CBFE, Luo Ning said. I know, I'm ready too, I'll follow orders, and you're doing all right, I'll follow orders. Yamato immediately laughed, which made Luo Ning wonder whether he might have recruited the wrong person. Will the average IQ of the entire Impel down be lowered by recruiting this tough guy? This is a big question. By the way, Master Luo Ning, can you help me convince Rihei? I want to be her father, but she has always refused to admit it. Yamato said with some distress. After hearing Yamato's words, Luo Ning's eyelids twitched wildly. To be honest, as long as Kazuki Hiyori is not brain dead, it is impossible to recognize her. It is impossible for any normal person to recognize her. She's about the same age as Kazuki Hiyori, just a few years apart, and she's a girl. Kazuki Hiyori couldn't possibly recognize her. Okay. Just give up on it. She will never recognize you as a father. If you have this spare time, you might as well learn some things about sailing. You don't need to think of yourself as Kazuki Oden. Isn't the idea of Kazuki Oden the founding of the country? Now that this wish has been fulfilled, you don't need to think of yourself as Kazuki Oden. You can change your goal now and think about going to sea later. Although Luo Ning recruited this guy, Luo Ning didn't expect this guy to be able to do anything. It's okay to ask her to fight, but if she was asked to lead someone, she would probably be brought down directly. So Luo Ning should just raise a high-level thug. Afterwards, Luo Ning also launched his 3-inch tongue. You know, Luo Ning, who has been bombarded by modern information, is it not easy to fool an iron fool? However, Yamato's admiration for Kazuki Oden is completely impossible to eliminate, so he can only properly guide her to the other side. She adores Kazuki Oden because of what Kazuki Oden did. Just let her turn her attention to free adventure. After a wave of language bombardment by Luo Ning, Yin gradually changed his mind on this aspect. The main reason is that Yamato is a tough guy. To put it bluntly, Kaido used the wrong method. He can use another method. Anyway, Yamato himself is a tough guy, quite simple. He can fool Yamato with an excuse, so he doesn't have to worry about the relationship between father and daughter. Furthermore, Kazuki Oden is indeed not a good thing. What kind of good thing is a person who can grab people's things on the street? So a little flickering can change Yamato's thinking. Chapter 151 Returning, freeing the slave. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. The situation in New World has basically stabilized completely, and the current situation in New World is that the Whitebeard Kingdom has the largest scale. Because of the existence of Whitebeard, it can suppress those young people. Therefore, the area of the Whitebeard Kingdom is the largest, followed by Katakuri's Wangwo, because its own strength is not as good as Whitebeard, so the territory of Wangwo is less than Whitebeard. This is not because Whitebeard is overly grabbing the territory, but because it is very difficult for Wangwo to hold onto it. After all, the situation on Wangwo's side is much worse than that on Whitebeard's side. The Whitebeard pirates have nothing to lose except for some traitors. Wangwo was really raided by Luo Ning. So under such circumstances, Wangwo couldn't afford such a large territory, and now these territories alone have caused Katakuri and others to be overwhelmed, and there are a lot of follow-up things. But to be honest, Bree has helped Katakuri a lot. Her mirror space has become a transfer station, and now Katakuri's biggest industry is logistics industry. However, due to the limitation of Bree's ability, this mirror fruit cannot spread to the whole country, but even so, it has already saved a lot of Luffy and a series of expenses. Now Bree is the real money maker. The pirates in New World were also directly stunned because of this series of events. Most of the pirates were concentrated in Shanks' territory. There was no way. Now there is only 4 emperors left, and that is Shanks. Shanks is still a pirate, so they can only rely on Shanks, but Shanks didn't give these people a good look, and all the pirates who entered his territory were expelled by him. After this news came out, the pirates in New World were even more confused. There is no way, now the last 4 emperors will not take them in, they can only mess around in New World for 200 months. Because of the launch of the ranks of pirates, these people can only survive in the cracks. Whitebeard and others have already started to attack the pirates. This made the pirates of New World very confused, and finally they had to report to the group to keep warm. A large group of pirates occupy a small part of the territory, but they are always watched by Whitebeard and others. Now it is because the two countries have not yet stabilized. When the two countries stabilize, Whitebeard and others will have nothing to deal with these people. It can be said that these people have been forced into thinking. In the front, Whitebeard and others are watching, and Marine is waiting for them to throw themselves into the trap. Now they cannot survive in New World, and they have no choice but to leave New World. After all, once you go back, you will be caught by Marine, which can be said to be a sad reminder. Not to mention these pirates. Anyway, they will be dealt with sooner or later. Luo Ning has brought a group of people back to the Red Line. He does not intend to go down this time the Fishman Island. This time he plans to go to Mariajoy again. Go ahead, I'll take care of the Celestial Dragons. After Luo Ning left a word and sent the ship to the Grand Line, he went straight to the Holy Land of Mariajoy. Nami and the others didn't say much about it. After all, they didn't have any good feelings for Celestial Dragons. So it's no big deal for these people to die, and they don't worry about Luo Ning's safety. Luo Ning is already invincible in this world, the kind that no one can catch up to. Watching the ship drive away, Luo Ning came directly to the Holy Land Mariajoy. Although it's not the first time, it's still as amazing as ever. Looking at the Celestial Dragons in the Holy Land, Luo Ning was extremely upset, but this time Luo Ning did not come purely for these people. Luo Ning came directly to the place where the Celestial Dragons were imprisoning slaves. Luo Ning. After Luo Ning came here, he was discovered very quickly. As long as he was not in a closed country like Wanokuni, people from other places were very familiar with Luo Ning. Advertisement. Especially the people in the Holy Land, because the last time Luo Ning came here and took so many people directly, they were dealt with in a batch. Now anyone in the Holy Land, except for some slaves who can't read newspapers, can basically recognize I when they see Luo Ning. Recognized. Luo Ning didn't talk nonsense. Reiatsu put him down as soon as he let go, then took the key and came to the prison. Damn it, it's here again. How did those guys think of a way to torture us? As soon as he came in, Luo Ning heard such a roar coming from inside. Asking for flowers. Save your energy. Seeing the newcomer who was still roaring, the others couldn't help shaking their heads. Those who have stayed here for a while and have not died know that no matter how much they roar, it is useless, and it is undoubtedly a dream to escape from the Holy Land. After all, the last person who released slaves was Tiger, who had already died, and even died after being betrayed by humans. Because of what happened to Tiger, the guarding force of the Holy Land has been strengthened a lot, and with Tiger's fate, no one will come here to save people. So their future can be said to be dark. Just when they sighed helplessly, the door of the cell opened, and then a bunch of keys were thrown on one of them. 0. This is the key to the shackles on your body and other cells. Go and release everyone, and I will let someone take you out. Luo Ning left behind a clone, but this clone is only responsible for protecting the safety of these people. After all, the guards on Mariajoy's side are not weak. It would be difficult for these people to rush out even if they are united together, and even if they do, it is estimated that many people will die in the end. So Luo Ning left a clone, and this series of operations made the prisoners in it dumbfounded. Just now I was thinking that it was impossible for someone to come to save someone again, but in the end, one turned around and came, which is simply outrageous to the extreme. B****************, D, what are you still doing in a daze? Are you going to stay here for the rest of your life? Seeing that the person who got the key was still looking dull, the people next to him couldn't bear it anymore, grabbed the key and opened the shackles. Afterwards, many slaves came to their senses and were released quickly. Luo Ning's body also came to a cell with a certain area and released them all. These cells are divided into different areas. After all, celestial dragons are quite serious about their property. After this series of operations, the slaves in the entire Holy Land were released. It's not good, the slaves rushed out. After the slaves rushed out, the others realized, but they couldn't get close to these slaves, because everything that got close was taken care of by Luo Ning's avatar. Chapter 152. Grab a few more celestial dragons by the way. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. What's going on? What's going on outside? It's so noisy. Slave riots. Riots are happening all over Mariajoy, causing some celestial dragons to be extremely upset. But when they knew what happened outside, they were all stunned. They didn't expect what happened to Tiger to happen again. You trash, hurry up and capture all the slaves of this saint. The celestial dragons were extremely upset. Ever since Luo Ning captured the celestial dragons, most celestial dragons only dared to stay in this holy place and did not dare to go out at all. After all, apart from Luo Ning's attack on the celestial dragons, someone else made a move. On the Sabayati archipelago side, someone directly attacked celestial dragons with bombs, and the most important thing is that they were not afraid of death, and they were alone in a 267, so they perished with celestial dragons with bombs. This would never have happened in the past, but because of Luo Ning's wave of operations, 3 celestial dragons died under such an attack, causing the faces of other celestial dragons to turn green, and they dare not go out casually, for fear accidentally got killed. Of course, there were also a small number of celestial dragons who were more courageous, and they went to Tezzolo to take refuge there. Although Tezzolo's territory was also mixed with fish and dragons, at least Tezzolo could guarantee their safety. But most of the celestial dragons still chose to stay and not to go out for fear of being killed by someone accidentally. They never expected that what happened back then would happen again. Send all your subordinates out at a time like this. What is going on in your minds? Just after the celestial dragons sent the people out completely, a voice sounded behind him. This voice made the celestial dragon stunned for a moment, and then turned around quickly. How dare you talk to me like that, Ben? Luo Ning. Celestial dragons, who wanted to speak harshly, changed his expression instantly when he saw Luo Ning. He did not forget how Luo Ning treated those celestial dragons before. Looking at Luo Ning in front of him, he felt that he was about to collapse. Among the celestial dragons, Luo Ning was extremely deterrent. None of the celestial dragons wanted to see Luo Ning, but now Luo Ning appeared in front of them, which was simply outrageous to the extreme. He now wishes he was just sleeping, just having a bad dream, but then he felt a black man faint before his eyes. These celestial dragons Luo Ning does not intend to kill, he just intends to bring these celestial dragons back to Impel down for the second live broadcast of celestial dragons execution, which must be very popular. Just like that, one after another celestial dragons were captured by Luo Ning, this time 10 more. After capturing these celestial dragons, Luo Ning left with these celestial dragons. As for his clone, he will bring these people to the ship and leave after Sabayati Archipelago. This series of events naturally alarmed Kong, 5 elders and others who were sitting in Mariajoy. Damn it, it's Luo Ning again, he actually released all the slaves this time. One of the 5 elders also gritted his teeth in hatred after seeing Luo Ning's clone. Because of Luo Ning's existence, their world government is now in a state of distress, and everything is heading in a bad direction. Let everyone back, don't stop these slaves. The other 5 elders rubbed his temples before speaking. Advertisement. Are you kidding? Just let the other party go like this. Could it be that we Mariajoy have become each other's back garden? 5 elders who held the knife was a little angry when he heard this. What else? What do you want? Do you have the ability to deal with Luo Ning? A lot of people in New World have been dealt with. You can stop him and go. Luo Ning is simply unmatched. Now we have only one choice, and that is to let the other party go, otherwise we will still be unable to do anything other than lose combat power. And once you annoy the other party, who will bear the consequences? The bald-headed 5 elders asked with a displeased face, and immediately the others were dumbfounded. Indeed, if they could beat the opponent, they would have already shot, but the problem is that Luo Ning is too strong to be worthwhile. All the strength of the entire Mariajoy might not be enough to fill it in. In this case, why bother to fight the opponent? It's better to save some energy to deal with the next thing. But now Luo Ning is guarding his own big prison with 1 acre and 3/4 of land, and he doesn't care about anything else. Their real enemy is still the revolutionary army. Is this guy just dealing with me like this? Is the world government not dealing with it? The bald 5 elders shook their heads. They and Luo Ning are destined to be enemies, and this cannot be changed at all. Only those slave traders and pirates would choose to go through the Fishman Island below. After all, pirates themselves are wanted, and if they still go here, they will undoubtedly be courting death. Now there is nothing more than 1 card missing, although this card is very important, but 1.4 will not let them go to the point where they will collapse directly. The ships here are enough to carry these slaves and leave. After all, if you transfer to New World normally, you will transfer at the port of Mariajoy. Although the celestial dragons are said to be extremely noble, everyone here knows the virtues of these guys. If it weren't for the face of the world government, these guys would not be so arrogant. As for these celestial dragons, let them die, they don't care anymore anyway. Holding the knife, 5 elders punched the table in front of him, and the table was directly crushed by the hammer. Now he has nowhere to vent his anger. In the end, the 5 elders ordered the withdrawal of all guards, and the slaves left Mariajoy safely. As for slave traders, although they are recognized by the world government, they rarely do business across New World and Grand Line. Wherever they are caught, they will be sold. This is generally the case. Everyone knows his character, and the world government has no common language with him at all. As for ships, there are many ports on the Mariajoy side. If Luo Ning intends to take down the entire world, then their world government probably collapsed long ago. No one can change it when they come, because they have done too many stupid things. These things, with Luo Ning's character, it is impossible to tolerate. The world government is only doing things again and again now. But they are also fortunate now that the other party has the idea of competing in the world, otherwise they will be finished. Chapter 153 Impel down expansion open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. The slaves left almost without hindrance, which made them feel strange, but they will probably figure it out when they arrive at the Sabayati Archipelago. Before leaving, Luo Ning's avatar actually left a word. Next time if Luo Ning finds that Mariajoy has slaves again, he will come again, which scares these people quite badly. Although Luo Ning is still unable to put an end to slavery in the entire world, he can start with the celestial dragons, as well as his allied countries, and the revolutionary army is also implementing this method. And he attacked this area from the source, that is, celestial dragons, not to mention eliminating this system, but the suppression can definitely see a lot of effects. On the main body side, Luo Ning took a celestial dragons and imprisoned them in the prison of the warship. After the slaves had left, the dogs who went back realized that the original master was gone, which was a shock. They quickly reported the news, and after doing some statistics, they found that 21 celestial dragons were missing by another 10. What the hell does this guy think Mariajoy is? Let's catch celestial dragons once. Kong is also a little confused. Of course, he is still a little happy in his heart now. After all, he has been a marine marshal, so he naturally has a sense of justice. After becoming this marshal, he has to be docked with celestial dragons to make him unhappy. Pull. Now this is another batch of celestial dragons being captured, it's not too comfortable. But this is also a thought in his heart, he doesn't dare to be superficial, otherwise, if he doesn't say too much, he will definitely face 5 elders scolding, although it won't cause too much loss to him, but it's unnecessary, isn't it? At such an old age, Sora can easily manage his expressions. He quickly reported this situation to the 5 elders. After hearing the news, the 5 elders were once again stunned. They thought that Luo Ning was just here to free the slaves, but they not only released the slaves, but also sent celestial dragons got away. This is simply outrageous to the extreme. In desperation, 5 elders can only go to IM. After all, only IM can decide this matter now. The matter is too big, they dare not take it lightly. You don't need to worry too much, just find out how many people are against the world government and where they are located. However, IM is much calmer than anyone else, he doesn't even care about this matter, as if these celestial dragons are nothing in his eyes, just a bunch of pigs. 5 elders didn't dare to talk nonsense after listening to it, and left quickly. As for what IM's plan was, they didn't know, and they didn't dare to ask casually. In this way, the Mariajoy incident once again detonated the sea. Of course, due to the continuous detonation before, many people are only a little surprised after knowing this incident, and they recovered quickly without being too shocked. Luo Ning also quickly returned to Impel Down, and then started the second live broadcast. After the second batch of celestial dragons was put in, there were quite a few people watching. After all, they were extremely excited to see the celestial dragons being tortured like this. As for the first batch of celestial dragons, all of them have become lunatics, and they were executed directly afterwards. Because Luo Ning made them unable to die, they could only be tortured all the time, so their hearts collapsed long ago. This collapsed before Arlong, and Arlong also suffered the same fate. If Luo Ning's set meal goes on, not everyone can eat it, so these people were directly killed. Advertisement. Now that another batch of celestial dragons are launched, they probably know what they will experience, but knowing that they have experienced it is another matter. As for Ace, let him work here, the sea stone has not been dismantled, anyway, don't even think about going out. After Luo Ning came back and handed over the criminal to Magellan and others, Magellan began to complain. There is no other reason, because of the influx of a large number of prisoners, there are not enough places for Impel Down, and the personnel is still a small matter. After all, the big deal can be divided into batches, but the number of people is too many, and the cells are simply not enough, so that it is now overcrowded. If you don't have enough land, expand it. Luo Ning also intends to let Magellan and others expand the large prison. Although we have thought about it, it is very difficult to expand Impel Down. When Impel Down was established, we found this space under the seabed and hollowed out directly from the listing. But there are sea kings around here and there is no other land. If we continue to dig down, we can only go down from the 6th floor, and it will take too much time to solve the urgent need. Magellan said helplessly that if the expansion is to be carried out, we can only continue to dig down, but the time, manpower and material resources required are not a joke. Now Impel Down itself is already overloaded, which is very troublesome. I see, leave this matter to me. After Luo Ning thought about it, indeed, if he continued to dig down, then the prisoners would have to be transferred on a large scale. In addition to consuming manpower and material resources, it would not be safe in itself. After all, if the guys on the 6th and 5th floors are transferred, there will probably be a lot of trouble. Finally, Luo Ning made a decision after thinking about it. He still had a lot of freedom in his hands, so he fully realized some building materials. 820 in other words, these things will not disappear even after he fantasizes about them now. It's similar to the previous food and gold and the like. Although it took a lot of freedom points, it would not be a big problem to expand the large prison afterwards. Luo Ning's fantasy power completely enveloped the entire Impel Down, and then another layer of buildings appeared outside the outer layer, and it was constantly improved. Luo Ning expanded the capacity of Impel Down by 10 times in one breath, not to mention the current prisoners, it would not be a problem to increase it several times. The expanded area has the same structure as the previous one. After Luo Ning emptied the seawater inside, the rest will be handed over to Magellan and others. There are cells and such, but some other equipment needs to be moved in by Magellan themselves. Their Impel Down is not bad, so don't worry about it. As expected of Mr. Luo Ning, you can expand the capacity of Impel Down by 10 times so easily. In this way, not only is it enough to accommodate the current prisoners, but even if there are several times more prisoners, we can put them in. At this moment, Magellan is also a little excited. The expansion of the large prison has given him a big surprise. He really didn't expect that Luo Ning would be so awesome, and he could also work as a construction worker part-time, and the walls and the like even better than the previous ones. Chapter 154 Impel Down Ring Competition Plan Open Black Lens Bracket Subscription Close Black Lens Bracket. The capacity expansion is not just under the seabed, but also above the sea surface. Luo Ning also created a huge arena. Master Luo Ning, what is this huge arena for? After learning that Luo Ning had set up such a big arena, the others were also a little confused, completely unable to understand what Luo Ning was going to do. This thing is prepared for those criminals. Inform the prisoners on the 6th floor that I will give them a chance to leave here and restore them to their full strength. If you defeat me, you can leave Impel Down. Luo Ning knows that there are still a lot of free points to be found in this Impel Down, and this is all tested with the Golden Lion. The prisoners on the 6th floor, when Luo Ning defeated them before, those who stayed here for a long time were all damaged in strength, so let these people temporarily recover to their peak period, and their experience will be a lot of fun. You will get a lot more freedom points. After this wave of search, Luo Ning thinks that he can get a lot of free points again, and the lottery draw can be completed by the way. Every item in the lottery draw before is of great use, of course, the lottery is the most important thing. Is this really okay? Those are all vicious criminals. Magellan was a little confused, not knowing why Luo Ning did this. Why not? Tell them, if I win, I will let them leave Impel down, but if I lose, I will be honest in the future, don't make trouble. Luo Ning said, the people on the 6th floor are all madmen, if they are subdued, they will naturally be obedient, although it is nothing now, but once these people go crazy, the disturbance will be quite serious. Magellan and some jailer beasts often go to the 6th floor to clean up these guys, not because these guys are causing trouble. I know, I'm going to prepare now. Magellan also nodded. He felt that Luo Ning did this to stabilize the situation on the 6th floor. After all, the 6th floor is full of extremely dangerous guys. If these guys run out, it will be troublesome. As for whether someone could have done Luo Ning to be released, it is impossible at all. What strength is Luo Ning? What strength are they? Luo Ning swept the New World 4 emperors by himself, and now except for Shanks, the others will either be killed, or get caught, or quit the ranks of pirates directly. The 4 emperors are all like this, and these people are naturally no exception at all. Soon, Magellan came to the 6th floor. Prisoners, I have one thing to announce, which is about whether you will be free in the future. The arrival of Magellan, many people on the 6th floor were too lazy to talk to each other, but when Magellan said this, everyone turned their attention to Magellan. Magellan, is what you say true? We Impel down people are not free to say it. That's right, you are not fooling us, are you? It is said that we are on the 6th floor, and no one can escape even on the 1st floor. A group of prisoners started yelling, not because they were talking nonsense, but because no one on the 1st floor could get out alive. Once you enter Impel down, you basically stay for a lifetime. Of course, few can live to that time. The baptism alone can kill half the life of a weak person, and all kinds of executions after that can also kill people in minutes. Advertisement. After this series of operations, there is basically no one who can get out alive. The 1st floor is like this, let alone their 6th floor. The people on the 6th floor are all ready to stay here for a lifetime. Shut up and listen to me next. This time Magellan's words were unexpectedly easy to use, and most of the voices disappeared directly. After all, it was related to the issue of his future freedom. No matter how crazy these people were, they all shut up now. Listen well, Master Luo Ning will prepare a huge arena on the 1st floor of the sea. As for you, you can choose to sign up. After that, we will provide you with enough food and training venues. When your strength has returned to its prime, fight Master Luo Ning. If you win, you can leave Impel down. As for losing, you can stay in Impel down and go to prison. Magellan informed the men of what was to be notified. Afterwards, someone will come here to record the registration situation. This is your only chance to escape, but to be honest, I don't think you can defeat Lord Luo Ning. There is no such person in this sea. After speaking, Magellan left, and the entire 6th floor fell into a dead silence at first, and then a terrifying noise erupted again. There is such a good thing. They can escape if they have a chance, and they also provide us with a training place and enough food. Are these guys out of their minds? At this moment, the prisoners on the 6th floor are all boiling. This person will be like this when he is excited, but there are also some rational ones. Quote. A group of idiots, do you really think that monster Luo Ning is so easy to defeat? I don't even think about how Laozi came in again, and those celestial dragons, how could they be defeated if they captured the celestial dragons and survived till now? Golden Lion couldn't help but shook his head. He felt that these guys took it for granted. Luo Ning was the scariest existence he had ever seen. The rocks back then couldn't compare with Luo Ning. Now that Luo Ning is still alive and kicking and can build such a ring, it can be seen that Luo Ning doesn't care about the world government at all. People here, who dares to say that they can stand up to the world government head on without losing the wind? Golden Lion dares to say that there is none, so it seems that there is a chance for freedom, but to put it bluntly, it is nothing. Golden Lion, have you been scared out of your wits by the other party? A voice Zhao Zhaohao came from the prison at the side. This was Bullet's. At this moment, Bullet also had a fighting spirit on his face. It seemed that he really planned to participate. Scared? You'll know after a fight with him, but with this opportunity to fill your stomach, Laozi will naturally sign up. Golden Lion said that although he couldn't beat Luo Ning, he had a chance to fill his stomach after signing up, which is an extremely rare opportunity in Impel Down. You know, the usual food is not enough at all. Not to mention filling their stomachs, they can barely guarantee that they will not be starved to death. How much energy do they have? That's the exception of the Bullet. It looks like the old man should come out and do some activities. The Red Earl on the other side also spoke, although the hope is slim, but at least it is a chance, and as Golden Lion said, if you can't beat it, you can at least have a few full meals, why not do it? Chapter 155 Preparations before the war. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Luo Ning, is it really good to do this? After Robin and the others knew what Luo Ning did, they still couldn't understand what Luo Ning was going to do. I've thought about it before, so I will definitely do it, not only on the 6th floor, but on other floors as well. Luo Ning said that no matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. Of course, other floors are limited to the 3, 4, and 5 floors behind. Mosquitoes are meat no matter how small they are, and these guys are worse than mosquitoes, so there is no need to give them a chance to recover. And even on the 3rd floor, Luo Ning will only choose some people with good strength, not everyone has such an opportunity. But the 6th floor is sure to take care of everyone. On the 6th floor, after Magellan left, someone soon came to record the sign-ups, and then every individual's name was recorded on the list. According to the rules, only 5 people have the opportunity to leave this cage at a time and go to the recovery area expanded on the 6th floor, and they are not allowed to leave the recovery area after entering the recovery area, otherwise they will lose this opportunity. Naturally, these people were not so stupid, and none of them made trouble, because they knew very well that even if they wanted to make trouble, they would talk about it after they went to the ground. 543. Only then will there be a chance to escape. Now that the strength has not recovered, and it is on the 6th floor, it is better to eat and drink here to recover and then find a way to escape. So the first few people stayed in their recovery area obediently. Among them are Bullet and the Red Earl. As for Golden Lion, Luo Ning didn't even give him this chance. Luo Ning's idea is to gain freedom. Golden Lion has no higher heyday to give him freedom. So naturally it was not the turn of the Golden Lion, and even Shiryu, who was also imprisoned by Magellan. He also had no free points to search for. After all, he was searched once by Luo Ning. Regarding this, Golden Lion and Shiryu were also extremely upset. After all, they did not expect that they would be ignored. But no matter how they yelled, no one answered them. Even Bullet and the Red Earl couldn't help laughing at them. That old boy, Golden Lion, still thought that he could go out and have a full meal, but he didn't think that he would not even be given a chance, ha 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 ha. In the recovery area, the Red Earl is also a little funny at this moment, seeing the large amount of food in front of him, he has already started to gobble it up. During the detention on the 6th floor, he couldn't eat anything at all, and now so much food made him jealous. Before he was imprisoned, the Red Earl never thought that he would be so crazy when he saw food one day. The old guy was defeated and imprisoned after recovering. It's only been so long. Luo Ning should simply want to find someone to fight with. As for this guy, he no longer exists in his heyday. Bullet also said while stuffing food into his mouth, his strength damage was minimal. But he is also a fruit ability user. Of course, in Luo Ning's opinion, Bartley's fruit ability is completely unnecessary. Bullet's fusion fruit finally weakened Bullet's power. Enlarging one's body to this extent, and completely covering armament Haki, not only consumes Haki, weakens Haki's effect, but also causes the speed to be too slow to be targeted. Advertisement. Otherwise Bullet hammered Hancock and the others wouldn't have destroyed half of the Titan's body with almost no injuries, and then they were given 10 shots by Luffy's Super Big Ape King gun. It is because of the consumption of a lot of stamina and Haki before that the combined submarine in his later stage can't even block Usopp's attack. Usopp's attack is undoubtedly good, but it is far from the top powerhouse. Bullet was completely torn apart by Usopp's plants because of Haki and severe physical exertion, and the combined submarine was also a general steel body. Even in the theatrical version, Wong Luffy is invincible, but Bullet has been forcibly weakened a lot. In fact, he doesn't use the ability to combine fruit, but it is almost incomprehensible. Relying on his own body and Haki, he is enough to hammer Luffy out of the water again. Bullet and the Red Earl were talking here, and the people next to them didn't dare to say anything at all. There was no way, the coercion brought by these two big men was too heavy, even though they were also famous in the sea. But in front of these two, they are really nothing, in short, they are not opponents at all. So they all shut up and ate, listening to Bullet and the Red Earl talking here. After eating and drinking enough to rest for a while, Bullet started his own recovery training. It's good to be young, and it's only a short while before you start to recover. The Red Earl said helplessly that he is too old, and with the consumption of Impel down, no matter how much he recovers, he will not be able to return to his peak period. That guy is not easy, I will definitely beat this guy. Bullet was very upset before, after all, he had been knocked out before, but that was invincible. And the most crucial point, Golden Lion said that Luo Ning is stronger than Roger. In Bullet's eyes, Roger is the strongest existence, and also the existence that he cannot defeat. But Roger voluntarily turned himself in and died, which made him unacceptable, but Bullet's personality was worse than Golden Lion's. Golden Lion went straight to Naval Headquarters, what about Bullet? Wrecking havoc all over the world. This guy is really enough to think about, he deserves to be caught Impel down. You are simply a lunatic, you are so awesome that you find a master, what is it to destroy here? However, his strong strength is indeed because Garp and Sengoku teamed up to catch many sky pirates. That's how Golden Lion got caught, and that's how Bullet got caught. Back then, Sengoku and Garp were also in a panic. If such an existence was not killed directly, they were still captured alive. He wondered if these people had lost their minds. Why are you arresting so many people? Isn't it good to get rid of them? This kind of dangerous person is not any other ordinary criminal. Ordinary criminals are tortured when they are sent to Impel down, but this kind of criminals can escape directly and wreak havoc on the world again if given a chance. Leaving such a scourge, this Marine is really speechless. Marine has a lot of mysterious operations, and Kaido is the same. If he catches him and doesn't kill him, he makes the opponent escape deliberately. Likewise, the guarantor cannot escape. Chapter 156 Head to Head. No, it's a gang fight. Open black lens bracket. Subscribe close black lens bracket. Bullet recovered the fastest among all of them, but even after he recovered, Luo Ning didn't fight him directly, but planned to wait until the others recovered. The Red Earl's current strength has declined a lot, but Bullet does not have a proper 4 Emperor's level of combat power. It is a pity that it has entered the theater version, and the strong players who have entered the theater version are not much better. No matter how Kaido and the others play immune to death, they are just like Xiaoqiang. If you let them enter the theater version to try, they will be smashed by Wang Luffy within minutes. Bullet's strength is not weak at all. Otherwise, Garp and Sengoku would not have to be dispatched to take it down. And in terms of settings, this product is still getting stronger, and the 4 Emperor's level combat power is definitely there. After everyone else had recovered to their best condition, all 5 of them were brought to the arena above the sea. I really prepared a ring, this guy is quite interesting. The Red Earl looked at the ring in front of him speechlessly. In his opinion, Luo Ning was either a martial idiot, or he had a serious mental illness. Otherwise, how could there be a ring? Just after several people came to the ground, suddenly one of them rushed out directly, towards the outside of Impel down. You idiots actually brought this uncle here, such a good opportunity, this uncle will not let it go. A prisoner didn't intend to fight Luo Ning, but ran away directly. In fact, he was not the only one, besides Bullet and the Red Earl, the other 2 also had the same plan. It's just that they didn't run away directly, but planned to let this guy explore the way ahead, they are not idiots. There are not many people who can get along to this level like Jack, and even though Jack is a reckless man, he also knows how to play tricks. This is the same as Kaido, and he is worthy of being a pirate. Just when the prisoner reached the side of the high wall and was about to jump out, suddenly a Reiatsu light beam blasted down, and the prisoner's body was instantly torn apart by the Reiatsu blast. At this level, Luo Ning's Reiatsu can be used as an attack method, and its power is still terrifying. After this move, he directly beat the opponent to pieces. It's good to stay here obediently, you don't need to give it a chance, but you want to make trouble. At this time, Luo Ning also came out, shaking his head helplessly, while the others were surprised. Bullet and the Red Earl were better, but a little surprised. As for the other 2 big pirates, they were sweating profusely. It's finally out, so let me do the first game. Bullet said, staring at Luo Ning. Since Roger's death, his goal is to be the strongest. As long as he is strong, he will fight, no matter how strong or famous the opponent is. No, Bullet, I didn't set up this arena for the simple one-on-one duel with you. I chose 5 of you at once. The purpose is to let 5 of you fight together. Of course, there are only 4 of you left now. Word. Luo Ning revealed his big white fang as he spoke, as if he didn't pay attention to other people. His words also angered Bullet and the Red Earl. You must know that they are all famous powerhouses, and asking them to join forces to beat one person is simply outrageous to the extreme. Are you kidding me? Naturally, Bullet and the Red Earl would not do such a thing as teaming up. He rushed out and wrapped armament Haki's fist and slammed towards Luo Ning. However, Luo Ning didn't dodge or evade his fist, but blasted out the same punch, and the 2 fists collided together. The arena also split apart quickly, but it recovered again at the moment of splitting. The arena Luo Ning has blessed the power of fantasy, not only has the hardness increased a lot, but also has the ability to recover automatically, so there is no need to worry about the arena being blown up directly. There is also a layer of Reiatsu shield around it to prevent the aftermath of momentum from leaking out. After all, this is Impel down, not a no man's land. Advertisement. Too much fluctuation in the battle would mess up Luo Ning's Impel down, so Luo Ning made perfect preparations. Boom. The fists of the 2 collided, and there was a sound like a giant bomb exploding. Bullet's figure was blasted out at a faster speed, hit the Reiatsu shield and bounced to the ground again, smashing a big hole. However, this big pit is also constantly recovering. Terrifying power. Poochie. Seeking flowers. Oh. Bullet let out a sigh of emotion, got up and spurted out a mouthful of blood. One face-to-face beat up Bullet like this. The Red Earl was also a little surprised to see Bullet vomiting blood. In addition to vomiting blood, he also noticed that Bullet's arm was trembling slightly. The punch just now was beyond Bullet's tolerance. Bullet didn't hide his clumsiness at all, and the Red Earl's face became serious at this moment. He didn't even dare to say that he could injure Bullet with a single blow. Now that Luo Ning's punch was still a head-on collision, it was simply outrageous to the extreme. Monster. Such a monster can't be defeated at all. Seeing the famous Bullet being beaten like this face-to-face, the other 2 big pirates were desperate. They couldn't run away if they just ran, and they couldn't beat each other at all with their strength. 0. It can be said that the hope that Luo Ning gave them at the beginning was nothing at all. Can we go together now? Luo Ning asked after waving his hand. Of course, we don't have a chance if we don't go together after all. How can there be a monster like you in this world? Compared with the previous time, it's a world of difference. The Red Earl said that Luo Ning and Magellan had fallen to the 6th floor before when they fought, and they had all seen Luo Ning. But Luo Ning's strength is really too much, it's not something 1 or 2 can do. So now the Red Earl has let go of his self-esteem. After all, defeating the opponent is freedom. For freedom of compromise, it's not very flat out. Shut up. I didn't agree to join forces with you, a bad old man. At this time, Bullet spoke again. Unlike the Red Earl, he would never compromise just because the enemy was strong. So now he still hasn't thought about joining forces with others, this is Bullet. Boy, don't you want to be free? The Red Earl is a little helpless. This kid's brain is simply a muscle, helpless. Freedom. After I defeat this guy, there will naturally be freedom. Now, don't hinder me. After Bullet finished speaking, he rushed to Zero again. Chapter 157 Reiatsu fully released open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. It really doesn't take a lesson at all. Luo Ning shook his head. He didn't prepare any fitting materials for Bullet. It was unnecessary. After all, what he wanted to hit was just a simple bullet, not a bullet that had to go all out. Moreover, the combined fruit ability is useless in front of him. Bullet's combined fruit is suitable for destroying and cleaning up miscellaneous soldiers, but fighting with the same level of powerhouse, such a body is actually a burden. The moment Bullet charged, there was also a very powerful Conqueror's Haki, Bullet's Conqueror's Haki, full of Shira's killing breath. After everyone's Conqueror's Haki reaches a certain level, some different colors will burst out, just like the color of knowledge. In the later stage, knowledge will develop some different things, such as reading minds, such as predicting the future of 18, and a series of abilities. The same is true for Conquerors. Bullet's Conquerors are full of killing breath. Under normal circumstances, under the suppression of this Conqueror's Haki, even the elites on the marine side will be frightened and pale, as if a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood are in front of them. Use Conquerors as a deterrent, you really look down on me. Luo Ning's Reiatsu swarmed like a tsunami. Compared with Luo Ning, Bullet's Conquerors instantly became a ripple in a calm pool of water, while Luo Ning's was an earth-shattering tsunami. This level of shock, the Bullet people were stunned. It's this kind of power again, and compared to the previous one, it's so many times stronger. This guy, it's impossible to defeat. At this moment, the thought flashed through the Red Earl's mind, that he couldn't fight, and even his fighting spirit was destroyed. Under the impact of this Reiatsu, his movements became extremely slow. Even the fighting spirit of the whole person is directly crushed. In this case, no matter how strong the fighting power is, it will not be able to exert more than 50%. It can be said that it was doomed to fail from the very beginning, and although Bullet is still fighting at the moment, his body can't bear it anymore. The closer you get to Luo Ning, the more terrifying this Reiatsu's oppression becomes. At this moment, Reiatsu has almost become substantively suppressed. Under the pressure of this Reiatsu, Bullet's soul is constantly swaying like a boat in a huge wave. Move, move. Bullet's eyes were bloodshot at the moment, and his teeth were bleeding from biting, but his body was completely disobedient, because his soul was warning, and if he continued to move forward, his soul might be directly washed away. This is the strongest Reiatsu that Luo Ning can release now, it is too much beyond this world, even with the strength of a strong man like Bullet, he cannot continue to move forward. One step forward is the abyss, and he can't control his body anymore. Boom. In the next second, Bullet felt as if his brain had exploded, his consciousness dissipated in an instant, and he just fell to the ground. After Bullet fell, Luo Ning took back his Reiatsu. At this moment, the Red Earl was also half kneeling on the ground with cold sweat on his face. The coercion was so terrifying that he couldn't even support his body to continue standing. As for the two big pirates beside him, they had already fallen down. Red Earl, do you still want to fight? Luo Ning looked at the Red Earl, now only the Red Earl is awake. Advertisement. Fight. What else is there to fight? Compared with monsters like you, we don't even have a chance to make a move. The Red Earl felt sad looking at his trembling hands. After all, he was also a super strong man at sea. The strong man who fought with Kong one-on-one back then, if it wasn't because he didn't have a younger brother, he probably wouldn't have been caught here. After all, the Red Earl was a well-known lone ranger back then, and he didn't have any companions at all. The four emperors were difficult to deal with, not because their individual strength was too strong, but because their forces were not simple. That's why the four emperors are difficult to deal with, but a loner like the Red Earl is naturally much easier to deal with. So you mean you threw in the towel? Luo Ning asked. Admit defeat, this opportunity never existed from the beginning. The Red Earl said bitterly. I gave you a chance, but the premise is that you can seize it. Obviously, you didn't seize this opportunity. Luo Ning shook his head, the opportunity was indeed given, but it was a little slim, infinitely close to zero. As for Bullet and the others, they were sent back to the cell again. This is like the Mara Mara fruit competition that Brother Ming created. An ordinary person wants to get the Mara Mara fruit. This is simply impossible. The Red Earl shook his head. With his fighting spirit dissipated, he couldn't exert his full strength at all. Even if he could exert his full strength, he didn't want to fight Luo Ning. Bullet could be overwhelmed by just his momentum, which is simply outrageous to the extreme. Red Earl, you can't be demented or beaten up, are you? Is that guy so strong? He wanted to control his hands not to tremble, but he couldn't. The Red Earl said bitterly, it was the first time he praised a person's strength to such an extent. But as soon as he said these words, everyone fell silent, and no one said a word. They all knew what kind of existence Bullet was. He didn't think that the other party could run away under Luo Ning's hands, this was just a dream. Yeah, I can't catch it at all. Luo Ning simply relied on his momentum to stun Bullet, and made the Red Earl not have the courage to make a move. What kind of concept is this? The Red Earl conceded defeat, and Luo Ning's free points increased a lot again. This time, it directly filled the lottery that Luo Ning almost had before. Dead, because he wanted to escape, so he was killed directly, and the body was not left intact. Luo Ning is too strong, it is not something we can contend with. Golden Lion saw that the Red Earl and others were escorted back to his cell again, even Bullet and the other two were still in a coma, but one was missing. Why did 5 come back and become 4? What about the other one? Died. The people locked up on the 6th floor are all 1.1 madmen. Seeing the Red Earl like this, they laugh at each other more. The Red Earl looked at his trembling hands and said, even though he was no longer afraid in his heart, the trembling of his hands was entirely due to the trembling in his soul. In other words, Luo Ning has another chance to draw a lottery. You know what the hell, I didn't even dare to fight him. Bullet and the other two were forcefully crushed by him with a pressure similar to Conqueror's hockey. Chapter 158 A New Lottery, The Fountain of Life. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Are you kidding me? You were so overwhelmed by the aura that you didn't dare to make a move, you fainted. After the silence, there was an eruption, and the entire 6th floor was completely comparable to a riot at this moment, but no one rushed out. I don't care if you believe it or not, anyway, this is indeed something we have experienced, and you will know it when you face this guy. The Red Earl didn't bother to talk too much. Luo Ning's Reiatsu was controlled within a certain range, so it didn't spread out, otherwise no one could be awake in the entire Impel down. Not to mention the situation on the 6th floor, Luo Ning's operation to defeat these people was also seen by everyone watching the battle. Magellan was also in a cold sweat now. Although he didn't sense Luo Ning's terrifying coercion, just relying on coercion to bring Bullet down was outrageous to the extreme. This was Bullet in its heyday. In short, now Magellan admires Luo Ning to the extreme, and has nothing to say. No wonder Luo Ning dared to engage in this ring. This did not give hope to those prisoners, but despair. After this time, it is estimated that those who stay in the prison will not think about escaping. Just kidding, there is no desire to escape after facing an existence like Luo Ning. Now the 21st Red Earl is planning to wait to die in prison, and his thoughts of running have completely returned to zero. After all, facing Luo Ning, no one can escape at all, and even if he escapes while Luo Ning is not there. Wouldn't they be caught by Luo Ning in the future, and their Golden Lion membership fees will be caught back, what about them? So after these people have experienced the group arena, they probably won't think about running away. In this way, Magellan's job will be easier. Now Magellan is also constantly exercising his body, and most of the things are handed over to Hannibal and the others. Magellan's physical resistance has increased a bit because he started exercising again. Apart from the side effects of not being able to touch seawater and sea stone, this devil fruit ability cannot be eliminated. Naturally, there will be no uncontrollable level of poison. Now Magellan's time in the toilet has been reduced as his physical strength has increased, but it will take a lot of time to practice to completely return to zero. After Luo Ning finished the group arena match, he went straight back to his room, and now he was thinking about getting something good. Soon, the results of the lottery came out, and Luo Ning stared at the rewards he had received. It turned out to be this thing. Looking at this exquisite cup in his hand, Luo Ning was also a little surprised. This thing is called the Fountain of Life, and as for the source, it is the world of the 7 deadly sins. The Fountain of Life, in the world of the 7 deadly sins, is in the forest of the Fairy King. It is a spring guarded by the saints of the fairies. Because the Fountain of Life is the source of life for the entire Fairy King forest, once the Fountain of Life disappears, the Fairy King forest will come to an end. This thing is said to be able to live for 10 years by licking it, 100 years by drinking it, and infinite life by drinking it all. In the original book of the 7 deadly sins, this thing was finally given to Ben by Elaine. After drinking it, Ben became an immortal body. No matter what kind of injuries he received, he would not die. The broken pieces can be resurrected. This is simply outrageous to the extreme. With an infinite lifespan and a truly immortal body, there is no way to kill Ban except for a defect in the soul. Advertisement. And the one in Luo Ning's hands is an enhanced version. The effect of this cup of Fountain of Life is exactly the same as the original version of the world of 7 deadly sins. But the biggest enhancement is that the thing in Luo Ning's hands can be recondensed once a year, which means that every year Luo Ning can make a person have an immortal body, not grow old, and recover from injuries instantly. All in all, the one in Luo Ning's hands is an enhanced version of the enhanced version. I'm really thinking about something. I'm still thinking about how to find a way to keep Nami and the others alive in the future. Looking at the cup in his hand, Luo Ning felt a little emotional. To be honest, he didn't really need this thing. His strength has reached the current level, his lifespan has been raised to a terrifying level, and the self-healing ability imagined by his fantasy power is no less than this thing. So there is no need to worry about staying in the state of a child. Of course, Shirahoshi's words will not work, because she has already eaten the fruit of childishness, so she is destined to look like a loli. After everyone came, Luo Ning told them about the effect of this thing, and everyone's eyes straightened instantly. It can be said that Luo Ning can achieve the effect of this thing, but the people around him can do it. Open black lens bracket. Then let Sister Robin drink first, after all, it's the same whether we drink or not. Now Nami is only 16 years old, and the others are even younger. Of course, Baby 5 has a slightly lower status, so she can only be ranked behind the others. Luo Ning said that there are not too many girls around him, there are just a few, enough for everyone to have a drink in a few years. At this moment, Nami looked at the cup of the Fountain of Life in front of him with bright eyes. This effect is simply what everyone desires. Yamato is also very happy to do such a thing, so he is not in Impel Down now, but everyone else is here. Others are also capable people, but capable people are not longevity species. You don't need to worry about this, you can discuss who will drink this cup now. There will be a cup of this thing every year, anyway, it's enough for you to share. Luo Ning directly summoned the girls around him. Only Yamato is not here. Yamato can't stay idle. He is for going to sea, so Luo Ning equips her with a warship. Let her go out to sea and catch the sea at the same time. Thief. Nami said. The oldest person here is Robin, so it is normal for Robin to drink. This thing is not a one-time thing, but every year, they just need to wait. But with this thing, everything will be solved. Okay, it's amazing. Where did you get this thing from? This thing will not stop the growth of the human body, but it will keep the human body at its peak state. Even if a child drinks it, it will continue to grow. After growing up, the body will stop when 303 reaches its peak. At that time, people are the most beautiful and handsome, and it is not the peak of strength, but the peak of physical condition. No matter how heaven-defying Luo Ning is, Nami and the others around him are still normal people, nothing more than that. Now Nami ate thunder fruit. Chapter 159 The arrival of Garp. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Then thank you all. Robin also laughed. She now regards this place as her own home, and Nami and others are also her own family, so she is not polite now. Indeed, she should be the first to drink. After drinking the fountain of life in the cup in one gulp, Robin's appearance also changed a bit, becoming more beautiful. Miss Robin, you have become more beautiful. Nami said with some surprise. She didn't expect this thing to have beauty effect. It's normal. After all, the fountain of life revitalizes people, so it's normal for it to become like this. Now Robin's body is full of treasures, even her blood and saliva. Luo Ning said. After drinking this thing, Robin is a walking fountain of life. Just like the tree of life can be reborn after class, Robin's blood naturally has this effect, and even saliva has this effect. Is it so amazing? Robin herself felt a little unbelievable, but she didn't think about doing anything with saliva and blood. That is to say, if Sister Robin bleeds now, a seed can be directly turned into a tree, right? Nami expressed his understanding. Almost. The effect will be much better than this, even in scope. Luo Ning said. Don't underestimate the power of the fountain of life. This thing can be called the best of the best in the world of the 7 deadly sins, and the setting is simply outrageous to the extreme. Originally, Robin didn't intend to experiment, but soon under the soft and hard foam of Nami and others, she pricked her finger, and a drop of blood dripped into the flower bed. In an instant, the original green flower bed itself did not bloom in this season, and all the flowers bloomed in an instant. This is just the effect of a drop of blood. Now Robin's body's hematopoietic ability is also heaven-defying to the extreme. Even if he uses the aorta to bleed blood, it is impossible to drain it. How much blood is released will be replenished in an instant. It can be called the bug to the extreme. Originally, Nami and others didn't think about letting Robin bleed, but Robin said that spitting or something is too disgusting, so they put a drop of blood, and the effect of this drop of blood is already so heaven-defying. At this moment, Nami and the others were looking at the cup in Luo Ning's hand eagerly, but Luo Ning did not hand it over to them. After all, this thing is very important. Even if it is lost, it can be retrieved with a compass. But Luo Ning won't do such a stupid thing, so naturally he won't lose this thing. Anyway, it won't regenerate now. Luo Ning naturally brought it with him. A few days later, Luo Ning suddenly received a communication from the Gate of Justice. The 2 gates of justice on the Impel Down side have been completely taken over by Impel Down, and if you want to enter here, you need to get permission. And this time, the people who came here notified Luo Ning because the portion was not low. Garp, this guy should be here for Ace. Luo Ning is actually very clear about Garp's intentions, and some important criminals caught by Impel Down will release information to the public. The same is true for Ace. After knowing that Ace was arrested, Garp rushed over without stopping. Advertisement. Luo Ning directly asked Garp to come in, and Garp was a little anxious at the moment. Long time no see Garp, what are you planning to do when you come to my Impel Down? Luo Ning looked at Garp who was a little anxious and asked, this old guy can't hide things in his heart, and he looks very anxious now. I'm here for Ace, I know that kid won't do anything excessive, can you let him go? Garp asked helplessly, but he could indeed guarantee that Ace would not do that kind of burning, killing and looting. He still knows Ace very well. It's for Ace. Garp, what do you think will happen if Ace's identity gets out? Luo Ning asked with a smile, and at that moment Garp blew up. You, how did you know? Wait a minute, I'm the only one who knows about this, it's not right, what are you talking about? Garp's eyes also lit up. He was always worried that Ace and the others would become pirates. Why? Because Garp is a marine. Once his grandson becomes a pirate, it will be unimaginable in the end. Ace is here in Impel Down now. I know he won't do those things, so I didn't imprison him directly. It's just that I made him a jailer in Impel Down and restricted his freedom by the way. Luo Ning opened his mouth and said, it was not possible to treat Ace like this, but this kid wants to be a pirate, so don't blame Luo Ning for doing some tricks. How did you know? As for Ace's companions, Luo Ning also let them be jailers. Anyway, there are not many more, and there are many less. As long as they don't do excessive things, it's not a problem. However, he had no interest in raising children, so he left it to other people to cultivate, and by the time he realized it, it was already too late. After more than 10 or 20 years, he has fully adapted to this, and the dream of being a pirate is gone. I will give him a promotion at that time, so he has found a good job. This also made Garp very distressed. Now Luo Ning's operation can definitely cut off this road, and he doesn't have to continue to worry about it. Quote. For a moment, Garp was confused, so that his speech became somewhat incoherent. Luo Ning couldn't understand Garp. Since he wanted his grandson to be a marine, it would be great to bring him to Marineford to train him. Instead, he handed it over to a bandit, which was outrageous to the extreme. That's it, this looks pretty good. Although this matter is secret, if you want people to know about it, you have to do it yourself. If you do it, there is a probability that people will know about it. His range of activities is limited to Impel down, and he can't leave here. This kid's idea of becoming a pirate is definitely gone. You also know how many people want to enter my Impel down now, there is no way, you should thank me after all, I helped you to curb Ace's pirate dream. Before Garp thought that Luo Ning was fooling himself, but now he said it directly, which is outrageous. He didn't want to kill his grandson one day, so he could only find a way to prevent them from becoming pirates. Ace is Roger's son, I know it very well. To be honest, I really want to know how you educated Ace. You can bring Ace and them to Marineford to train them. It's normal to be a marine under precepts and deeds. Bar. Chapter 160 Garp. How about I send Luffy too? Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. By the way, do you still accept people here? I also have a grandson who wants to be a pirate all day long, and also wants to be the pirate king. I can send him here to practice. Garp couldn't help but think of his grandson Luffy. After being misled by Shanks, he thought about being a pirate all day long, and he wanted to be the king of the pirates, a title. His grandfather is still a bit powerful in Marine, so there is no need to worry about what will happen to Luffy, but it will not work if he is the One Piece, that is to fight against the world government properly, and Garp does not have such great energy. In fact, Luffy in the original book is already so far that Garp can't take care of it. After all, Luffy rushed to the Enies lobby to make a fuss, and even got Nico Robin, the most important criminal of the world government, onto his ship. Luffy doesn't have the strength and deterrence of Luo Ning, so he is doomed to be unable to protect these things well. Now Garp is thinking of throwing Luffy here. On the one hand, he has a backer, and on the other hand, he dispels this guy's dream of becoming a pirate. Otherwise, to be honest, it will be very troublesome for Luffy to become a pirate in the future. Now is no longer the era of great pirates. Luo Ning has almost wiped out all the top executives of Pirate 447. Luffy used to be a pirate, but now is not the time to be a pirate. Your grandson, I can sell your face, yes. Luo Ning couldn't help laughing. Originally, he hated Luffy for being a pirate. Can't you be an adventurer? With such a big backstage behind, he wants to be called a pirate. Needless to say what pirates are, well, they should be targeted wherever they go, and a good person should become a thief if he is not a good person. That's good, I can go and bring this kid Impel down later. Garp was immediately happy. Luffy was his heart disease, and now this heart disease was sorted out, he also breathed a sigh of relief. After that, Garp brought Luo Ning to meet Ace. Ace at this moment is honestly not free, but his life is not in danger either. Old man, why are you here? After seeing Garp, Ace was also surprised, meaning that Garp loves Iron Fist and Ace didn't eat less. B********** D boy, you still have the nerve to say that while Laozi is not paying attention to going out to sea to become a pirate, that's fine, Laozi managed to help you get a Shichibukai quota, but you actually gave up. Garp's blood pressure also rose after seeing Ace, and then he rushed up and punched him. This fist made a few big bumps directly on Ace's head, the whole Ace couldn't do it anymore, so he could only look at Garp with a painful face. You don't care what I do. Ace replied angrily. This time, Garp didn't make a move, but Luo Ning went up and gave the guy a chestnut. Why did you hit me again? Ace was blinded. Garp hit him, so he admitted it, but why did Luo Ning hit him? I hit you because you didn't know how to accept the kindness of your old man. You kid don't even think about it. What is your identity? Once your identity is exposed, Marine will arrest you desperately. What will Garp do then? Garp has been thinking about how to save your life from the beginning to the end, and the result? You run out and roam. Advertisement. Can you understand how difficult it is for an old man? Luo Ning rolled his eyes. To be honest, Garp's original work is really difficult. He has been a Marine all his life, and he has given it to Marine for most of his life. Is it possible for him to give up Marine? Many people think that it is not right for Garp not to give up on Marine. People's pursuit of a lifetime, if you say give up, give up. Why do you have to have an old man to pay? Why do you have to let an old man bear this burden, but you have to pamper the young? Is the old man doomed to give to the young? There has never been such a reason, CB, in this world. That's why Luo Ning directly gave Ace a chestnut. Okay, let's talk among yourselves, and Ace, don't even think about running away from here in your life. Luo Ning left a harsh word. After a few years, it is estimated that Ace will also take charge of this place, and the pirates outside are almost cleaned up, and Ace will not be a pirate anymore even if he goes out. This time, Ace didn't push anymore, and he also knew that he was really sorry for his old man and broke his heart. Young people in One Piece world are actually like this, so in Luo Ning's view, the world view of this world is very distorted. After Garp chatted with Ace for a while, Garp left, but he also left a phone bug for Ace, so that he can contact him at any time. After leaving, Garp didn't return to Naval Headquarters, but went straight to East Blue. He was going to catch Luffy to Impel down. Let him see what the end of being a pirate is. If Ace continues to be a jailer, besides not having freedom, the treatment of this Impel down is quite good, delicious food and drink, and various entertainment items, these are the benefits given to them by Luo Zhang. So it's actually quite good here, and to be honest, after seeing the punishments those pirates received, Ace was also a little scared. After all, it wasn't long before he went to sea. Although he got mixed up in New World, he was taken down by Luo Ning as soon as he entered New World. It can be said that Ace has not experienced many twists and turns, now look at the various packages of Impel down. To be honest, Ace really doesn't want to eat it once, except for the 6th floor, the other floors are terrible, and although the 6th floor has no punishment, for these big pirates, it is the worst for them not to have any chance to move. Penalty. These people may feel a little more relaxed if they are punished. These people will be tortured from the heart and imprisoned for a lifetime. After Garp left, Luo Ning also found Robin directly. You mean, let's go to the Ennie's lobby. To be honest, Robin does have some different emotions towards Ennie's lobby. You must know that the chief executive of Ennie's lobby is the son of her enemy, and Spandam has also provoked Robin all these years. After all, most of those agents were dispatched from Spandam. For Ennie's lobby, Robin was also very afraid before. After all, once he entered Ennie's lobby, it meant that he was about to be sentenced, and what awaited him was either his immediate death or eternal imprisonment. Now Luo Ning took Robin to the Ennie's lobby just to deal with this matter, and in his opinion, the Ennie's lobby didn't need to exist at all. The existence of this establishment is simply disgusting as hell. Especially the top officer is Spandam, who never does business. Chapter 161 Ennie's lobby open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. Now that he has made up his mind, it is natural to leave quickly. By the way, Luo Ning plans to go to the capital of Seven Waters to get the design drawings of Pluton. He doesn't care about the power of this thing. He is mainly curious about how this thing is. What is it like? At any rate, come to Pirate World, it seems a bit too sorry for myself not to see this. After the warship set off, it quickly passed the Gate of Justice. Ennie's lobby, the prison and Naval Headquarters formed a triangle. These are several completely safe waterways. For this reason, the Gate of Justice was also set up. The purpose of the existence of the Gate of Justice is to prevent these waterways from being used by pirates. Pirates can't take these shortcuts, they can only choose detours. As for the channel around the Gate of Justice, there are some scary big Uzumaki, ships want to sail on it, basically wishful thinking, unless they are with Luffy and their ship it can fly. Luffy's late-stage ship can fly far away with a single jet, and it also has hang glider, which allows the ship to glide in the air. Well enough. Looking at Ennie's lobby who was getting closer and closer, Luo Ning asked. Fortunately, although I have always been a little afraid of Ennie's lobby, at least I have a backstage person now. Robin said with a smile. If it were in the past, she would indeed tremble when she saw Ennie's lobby, but not now. An existence like Luo Ning is a huge backer, even more terrifying than world government. She also knew that the reason why Luo Ning brought her here this time was to settle everything. After all, the agents sent by Ennie's lobby back then did not cause much trouble for Robin. Whether it was Spandine or Spandam, both of them caused Robin huge problems. Luo Ning's ship was flying the flag of Impel down, and no one dared to stop it. In this way, the ship arrived at the port smoothly. It's Luo Ning. After seeing Luo Ning, the Marines at the port were shocked. Everyone knew what kind of existence Luo Ning was. If Luo Ning appeared here, something must have happened. Now they are a little panicked. Lord Luo Ning, you came to Ennie's lobby and don't know what's going on. The person in charge of the port looked at Luo Ning with a cold sweat and stammered and asked, although he didn't want to be nervous, but his body was out of control. After all, this person was overwhelming Marine, and the world government didn't dare to mess around. 4 emperors become a king. Wherever Luo Ning went, some incredible events would happen, and they really didn't dare to say anything. Leave us alone, we're here for Spandam. After speaking, Luo Ning took Robin and set off. The others did not follow this time. After all, the matter this time was to deal with Robin's affairs, so they all stayed in Impel down. Okay, please go ahead. The person in charge wiped off his cold sweat and at the same time breathed a sigh of relief. Although Luo Ning came to find Spandam, and with Spandam's personality, it would definitely not end well, but what does this have to do with him? It's just a Spandam, and Luo Ning probably won't do anything to everyone in Ennie's lobby. To be honest, as for Spandam, everyone here who is not a dog leg hates this guy. To put it bluntly, Spandam has a good father. Although Spandane is not a good person, at least Spandane knows how to take care of his son, and he is not so stupid that he doesn't even care about his own son. Advertisement. Because of Spandine, Spandam took this position, but his series of operations almost made Lu Chi useless. Lu Chi claims to be the most talented agent in the past 800 years, and he is very terrifying. As a result, he was sent by Spandam to get Pluton's blueprint, which wasted a lot of training time. So that he was defeated by Luffy in second and third gears after he arrived at Ennie's lobby. Luffy's talent is very terrifying. If it weren't for the blank period of these years, Lu Chi's strength would not be comparable to that of Luffy. It is estimated that Luffy would be gone after a face-to-face encounter. However, he met a second idiot chief. He only thinks about doing meritorious deeds, and the world government is also very miraculous, and it still keeps Spandam, which Luo Ning can't understand. Sure, some villains do have a role to play, but what about Spandam? Asking for flowers. 0. In the original book, Robin was also arrested by the CP organization, but this guy never planned to let Robin go. Has Spandam done a good thing from start to finish? For world government, it's probably about Tom. The world government does things, and dirty things naturally need dirty people to do them. Spandam is like this, but it is also drunk that the world government can keep this product in a series of subsequent Spandam operations. Damn it, it can't be because of Nico Robin. Although the position is not as high as Lu Chi's, Luo Ning really couldn't think of such a stupid operation of the world government. It can only be said that there is a reason for the decline of the world government. If this world did not have these superhuman powers, it would have been captured by the Revolutionary Army long ago. On the other side, Spandam, who was living his own comfortable life, also received news from the port. The news of Luo Ning's arrival surprised him, and the news aimed at him shocked him even more. But he didn't expect that he stopped making trouble for Robin, and now it was his turn to make trouble for him. My own brain pumped Buster called to Annie's lobby, and then blamed my agents. The most important thing is that Lucci and others were finally recruited back. What happened? I still kept Spandam and got Spandam into Crow. He didn't think that Robin would let him go. After all, it was true that he had been biting Robin like a mad dog all these years. It's just that because Robin followed Luo Ning before, Spandam really had no chance at all, so he could only focus on the Pluton drawings. It's also because Robin has been used to fleeing these years, otherwise he would have been caught by this guy. The purpose is to get the blueprint from Tom, and if he can't get it, he will kill Tom directly. In short, he never thought of letting him go. So now he is also in a panic, but it is too late to run away, everyone has already entered the gate, where can he run? Spandam is also frightened now. After he came to power, he was only thinking about making Pluton blueprints and capturing Nico Robin, and sent many soldiers and intelligence personnel to check Robin's information. In order to get the drawings in Tom's hands, they used various crimes against Tom, and Tom was basically dead. Don't even think about it, even if Frankie didn't do it at the time, they could find other excuses. Chapter 162 Luo Ning, threatening me with the world government. Open black lens bracket subscribe close black lens bracket. If he wanted to leave Annie's lobby, he could only take a boat, and the boats were all at the port now, so he couldn't run across at all, and his strength was too weak, not even as good as a basic soldier. The weakest marine soldier can also hammer Spandam over directly, of course, the premise is that he does not use Naba Shangjan, and it is indeed quite rare to eat Devil Fruit's weapon. Of course, in fact, eating a weapon is not very useful, it just increases its power a bit, but a weapon is not a human being, and cannot continuously develop Devil Fruit, so after eating it, it is useless except to increase a little strength. And it also depends on the person who uses it. It's good for the person who uses it to be proficient, but Spandam is extremely weak in itself. You don't need to do anything, just put a conquerors in the past, and it will fall down directly. Luo Ning led Robin all the way over, no one dared to stop them, and everyone even gave way, for fear that Luo Ning would be killed accidentally, so Luo Zhang and Robin came to live in Spandam without hindrance the place. As a result, as soon as I came here, I saw Spandam carrying things out in large and small bags. In fact, Spandam could hide it if he knew he couldn't escape, but this guy actually wanted to move all his property to hide it at the first time. This is also a typical representative of not dying for money. So embarrassing now, Spandam saw Luo Ning and Robin, holding a package full of money in their hands. In fact, Spandam originally thought that there were still a lot of Marines on the island, so he asked these people to stop Luo Ning for him temporarily, and buy him some time. But he never imagined that no one on the Ennie's lobby dared to stop Luo Ning, and they even gave way to let Luo Ning in, so that he bumped into a hill before he finished moving his things. Robin, I leave it to you. Luo Ning didn't plan to directly attack this guy, just let Robin do it, after all, he had a grudge with Robin. I see. Robin nodded, and with a movement of his hands, arms appeared and grabbed Spandam directly. The ability of Flower Fruit Robin himself has played well, and after training in the training ground for a period of time, Robin's development of Flower Fruit has surpassed Robin in the later stage of the original book. After these arms appeared, Spandam was caught by the arms and couldn't move at all, and then a huge arm condensed and fell down like a palm covering the sky. Wait, I'm from the world government, you can't kill me, my dad is still a senior official of the world government, if you kill me, it's like starting a war with the world government. Seeing this huge palm, Spandam was also frightened with snot and tears streaming down his face, he really deserves to be a waste. Because of Spandam's words, Robin stopped moving. It would be easy to kill this guy, but she didn't want to cause more trouble for Luo Ning. Threatening me with the world government. You're probably out of your mind, do it. Luo Ning glanced at Spandam strangely. He even dared to move celestial dragons casually, let alone a Spandam. This guy threatened himself with the world government, his brain is fine, right? Hearing Luo Ning's words, Robin couldn't help laughing at himself. He had forgotten about the celestial dragons before. There was no way. After the myth of celestial dragons was broken, there was no deterrence. Advertisement. Many people regard celestial dragons as the lowest level stuff, so they don't care about it. Just now Robin also forgot. After hearing Luo Ning's disdainful words, I remembered that there is no need to be afraid at all. This time, the huge palm didn't intend to stop at all, and it crashed down. Spandam was powerless to resist. He was not even as good as an ordinary marine soldier, let alone Rosso now. So with this slap, Spandam was directly smashed to pieces. This is a little debt collection first. Spandam is gone, but Spandine is still there. Luo Ning also didn't think about letting Spandane go, but that guy is not here, and he will go to the world government to catch that guy later and the matter will be over. I know that we can't stop what happened to Luo Ning, but you don't know what Spandam's father is doing. How about that guy slamming his anger on us? 11. Kumadori said with some helplessness, this kind of thing is very common in the world government. When the people above make some mistakes, they directly throw the blame to the people below. After a while, Lu Qi's voice came. At this moment, Lu Qi's face was very ugly. After all, he was going to work as an undercover agent, and he was a boatman. This was all under his nose. After Luo Ning and Robin left, several CP9 people looked at each other and asked. After dealing with Spandam, the two left directly. As for the CP9 agents on the Enies lobby, they didn't dare to speak at all. Although Lu Qi and others were dispatched, there are still a few left here. Contact Lu Qi first, and ask him what to do. In desperation, several people can only contact Rob Lu Qi 0.2 in the capital of Seven Waters, and the other party probably has a way. But the people below have nothing to do, even if they want to seek justice, they have no way or access. But these few dare not fight with Luo Ning, or it is difficult to find a few in the world who dare to fight with Luo Ning. What are you doing? Why are you contacting me in broad daylight? This is against the rules. It's fine to report it directly. The more we can stop this matter, even if Naval Headquarters directly pulls it over, it won't be able to stop it. What are you afraid of? Lu Qi in the original book is probably recruited because of his talent, otherwise, if the talent is mediocre, no one cares about them at all, and they have been played to death by the people of Spandam. This is dead. What should we do now? As an agent, lurking is nothing more than to be realistic, but now this operation has made his face turn green. One of the CP9 members said disdainfully that they cannot be blamed for this incident. In fact, these agents are more or less united, one does not give up the other. Although it seems to be just a small matter, it is indeed possible that the plan will collapse because of this small matter. Such a thing has not happened before, so Lu Qi's face is very ugly now. Soon, the phone bug contacted Lu Qi. Chapter 163 Pluton drawing open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Sorry Lu Qi, we didn't mean it, but Spandam is dead. Killed by Nico Robin, we can't make up our minds to contact you. A few people said helplessly that they also knew the situation of the secret agents, and they couldn't contact them casually, but now they have no choice. Their immediate chief died, what can they do? What? Spandam dead, killed by Robin. Which Robin? Nico Robin. Rob Lu Qi, who had a very ugly face, was confused. What kind of operation is this? That's right, Luo Ning brought Nico Robin to the Enies lobby, killed Spandam and left. Several people quickly talked about what happened before, and at this moment Lu Kai's face became ugly again. He was really happy that Spandam died. After all, in his eyes, Spandam was a piece of trash, but it is not a good thing that a trash died now. Spandam still has a father. 21 Spandane has a high probability of transferring his anger to the few people who stayed in Enies lobby. He also knows that these people must have contacted him because of this. People who stay in the capital of Seven Waters don't have to worry about this problem. But the folks at Enies lobby need to face that. I don't have a good solution, you'd better be prepared to escape. Lu Qi said that he had the same problem. He didn't have too much power. To put it bluntly, he was also a part-time worker, but his talent was better, but people didn't care about this at all. At least for now, he has no way to help these people, he can only prepare them to escape at any time. After leaving a sentence, Lu Qi hung up the phone. He had no other choice. If it was the same as everyone, he would not mind taking these people with him on the road, but now he is not facing this problem. He is even still here on a mission, so this matter has nothing to do with him, and he will not risk his life because of it. Lu Qi had no choice, and the few people in Enies lobby could only be prepared to run away. If they didn't run away, the consequences might be very dire. They are very clear about the personalities of these world government officials. Luo Ning doesn't know about all this, and he doesn't care if he knows, and he didn't make this matter. Who said that the world government is so black? It's a set of things. After leaving Enies lobby, Luo Ning's boat took some time to drive to the Seven Water capital, which is indeed a tourist attraction. And this sea train is also something that can't be seen at all in other places. After Luo Ning arrived here, she made a little disguise. There was no way, he was not afraid of those people making trouble, but now he is too conspicuous, and anyone who walks on this road knows her. This is not in Wanokuni. No one knows him under the closure of Wanokuni. This is the capital of Seven Waters, he is really too famous now. After making a disguise, no one could recognize him and Robin. As the blueprint of Pluton really in such a place? Didn't people from the world government get the blueprint of Pluton? Robin asked with some doubts. She also basically understood the situation here. Tom was killed directly back then. If there are Pluton blueprints, they should have been taken away by the world government. Advertisement. The world government also needs to know where the blueprints are if they want to get Pluton's blueprints. It is precisely because they cannot determine the location of the blueprints that they have to send agents to watch here. Luo Ning shook his head. This thing is in Tom's hands. This is something that the world government itself has determined, so it tried every means to target Tom afterwards. But after Tom died, only 2 apprentices of Tom knew the secret. One is Bingshan. Bingshan has become the chief, and now everyone is staring at Bingshan, and the other is Frankie. Frankie didn't call him this name before, but he just hid himself. He also changed his name to Frankie, and Bingshan handed over the Pluton drawings to him, and Frankie also put the Pluton drawings in his body, because he is now a cyborg, and many parts of his body are mechanical. This blueprint is hidden in his body. This approach is indeed very clever. After all, this blueprint is very fragile and can be destroyed anytime and anywhere. Rob Lucci and the others can easily take down or even kill the iceberg, but they can't find the location of Pluton's blueprint, which is very embarrassing, so they have been undercover here all the time. Why is there always a feeling of unreality? Anyone with a normal mind would not believe it. Well, in fact, many people do not believe this matter, but the world government has offered a reward. They do not believe this matter, but it does not prevent them from catching Luo Bao to exchange for money. Otherwise, with the character of the world government, they would have thought of a way to kill people, just like they wanted her back then. An 8-year-old girl directly offered a reward of 79 million, and said that she planned to destroy the world. It was so easy to get Pluton's blueprints. Thinking of Clock Doll's painstaking efforts to find Pluton, Chu Jian couldn't help but feel pity for Clock. So Robin is really old and miserable. Ever since he met Poseidon, Robin was sure that Luo Ning knew about Pluton's specific situation, but he didn't expect to get the blueprint so easily. It was simply outrageous to the extreme. The design of this thing is really complicated enough. It's not so simple to build it. Except for the world government with this financial resources, everyone else can only be blind. Luo Ning can easily do the matter of destroying the island with one blow. To build this thing, it takes manpower, material resources and time, basically only the world government can resist. Soon, the two found Frankie. Luo Ning 227 didn't talk nonsense, and directly stunned Frankie with Reiatsu, and then got the design blueprint of Pluton from him. Luo Ning looked at the blueprint in his hand. Although he didn't understand it very well, he could still see some general ideas. Knowing the concerns of the world government, Robin suddenly realized that, indeed, the world government can't find the Pluton blueprint. Even if it kills people, it's useless, so he thought about lurking here to get the blueprint. This is outrageous, saying that an 8-year-old girl wants to get Pluton to destroy the world again. What's her brain? Look, you did not find the location of Pluton in the end after all your conspiracies, and now they just got the blueprint of Pluton. The unscrupulousness of the world government. Robin has experienced it himself. At least know the size of this thing, a super big ship like an island. Of course, Luo Ning can do it now, but why bother? This thing is of no use to Luo Ning. Chapter 164 Luo Ning's Bad Taste. Open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. I got the blueprint, so shall we leave now? Robin asked. Since the goal has been achieved, then there is no need to stay here any longer. There's no need to leave so soon. After all, this place is still a good tourist attraction. Before that, there was nothing interesting in Annie's lobby, so we left directly. This place is different. And I plan to use this Pluton blueprint to stimulate these agents. Don't you think it's interesting? Luo Ning said a little funny. The purpose of these people here is for the Pluton blueprint. Since that's the case, he took it out to stimulate these guys. The Pluton blueprint appeared, but it was in the hands of someone they dared not touch. It is estimated that these agents will get sick by then. You really have a bad taste. Robin was also a little speechless. She could imagine the helplessness of these agents just by imagining such a scene. She probably would collapse directly at that time. It was too miserable. I can't help it. Why are you bored now? Let's go for a stroll first, and then meet this Bingshan chief. Beside him is an agent of Lurker. Luo Ning said with a smile. There are quite a few agents here. Rob Lucci and Kaku in the shipyard, Bluno in the bar, and Khalifa beside him. It can be said that the infiltration is quite powerful. Fortunately, Bingshan would not casually tell other people the secret, otherwise he would have been gnawed to the bone. After that, Luo Ning took Robin for a stroll around the capital of Seven Waters and bought a lot of things. Luo Ning was not interested in the clothes here, but he was interested in food. The food in the capital of Seven Waters is quite good. As for Robin, she is also a woman. Although she is a woman who likes archaeology is only one of her hobbies. She also likes shopping. Robin has never experienced the life of a normal person since he was a child. He was targeted by harsh relatives when he was a child, and he was betrayed all the way afterwards. Now he can be regarded as liberating his nature. She also bought a lot of clothes for Nami and others by the way, and gave them to them when she returned. In this regard, she also called Luo Ning a person who has no interest at all. In this regard, Luo Ning said that he is a straight man of steel, and he has always been like this. He is a real open school. The same goes for shopping. It's not romantic, so he can't do it, right? But the people around him have basically adapted to his operation. It was dusk, and after walking around and having some experience, Robin and Luo Ning came to Bingshan's office, and they came indirectly without making an appointment. So why did you follow? Don't you think this is a bad joke? Backquote. Seeing Robin coming in with him, Luo Ning asked a little funny. Although it's a bad taste, I'm also very interested. Robin also laughed. She really wanted to see what the expressions of these agents would look like. It would probably be very exciting. And the secretary next to Bingshan is an agent, which might be more interesting. Two mischievous people came directly to Bingshan's office. Bingshan was about to leave for dinner, but the doors in the office were suddenly opened. But the person who came in stunned Bingshan for a moment. Advertisement. Are you Mr. Luo Ning? After seeing Luo Ning, Bingshan recognized Luo Ning at a glance, and he was also shocked. In his opinion, Luo Ning is a super big shot. Such an existence is like the boss of the world government. But after being stunned for a while, Bingshan was also a little worried. He was afraid that Luo Ning came for the Pluton drawings. Impel Down and their 7 waters have cooperation projects. Although Zephyr brought a lot of warships from Marine, these warships need maintenance, repairs, and replacement after aging. So this business has already been docked with the capital of 7 waters. But Bingshan never thought that he could meet such a big man as Luo Ning in his office. Sorry, I broke in suddenly, are you familiar with this thing? Luo Ning didn't talk nonsense either. After glancing at Khalifa, he directly took out the blueprint of Pluton. As soon as this thing appeared, Bingshan's pupils began to vibrate violently. You know, he is very familiar with this thing, isn't this the Pluton blueprint that he personally handed over to Frankie? What is this thing? Bingshan doesn't know what's going on with Frankie now, but he also knows that he can't reveal too much, but he really can't control his stuttering voice. He is so shocked now. Seeing Bingshan like this, the eyes of Khalifa next to him lit up. Bingshan has always been a very calm person, this is the first time she has seen Bingshan acting so flustered. The source of all this is this stack of papers, so what is this thing? Khalifa is also having a brainstorm in his head now. Mr. Bingshan should be very clear about this, you handed over the design drawings of the Banquet King to your junior brother. Luo Ning smiled and said the words that made both Khalifa and Bingshan collapse. The iceberg collapsed because people already knew about it, and the Khalifa collapsed because it was already in the hands of Luo Ning. What should they do next? They simply can't get it, okay. I don't understand what you're talking about. Bingshan didn't dare to admit it, even if the things had already been in other people's hands, he would never admit it. It's really careful, so Miss Khalifa, as a member of CP9, after knowing that this blueprint is in my hands, what do you think? Luo Ning looked at Khalifa, and Khalifa suddenly thought of the word finished, and Bingshan looked at Khalifa with a dazed expression. Hello Wang Zhao, he has never doubted Khalifa, after all Khalifa has been by his side since he was a child. In his opinion, such a young person should not be a secret agent, but now the words are coming from Luo Ning, so this matter cannot be fake, that is to say, the other party is really a secret agent. Khalifa, you are from CP9. At this moment, Bingshan directly distanced himself from Khalifa, thinking that Khalifa lurking beside him turned out to be an agent. Bingberg felt a little creepy. It was discovered. Master Luo Ning is really powerful. We have been lurking here for a long time, so we shouldn't have shown our feet. How did you know our identity? Khalifa also knew that Luo Ning was not joking with himself and the others, and the Pluton blueprint was in Luo Ning's hands. They had nothing to do, the mission had failed, so just admit it. Chapter 165 Agents who almost collapsed open black lens bracket subscription close black lens bracket. Didn't you get any news? It shouldn't be, I just came from Annie's lobby and killed that guy Spandam by the way. Speaking of which, that guy is still your immediate boss. Luo Ning was a little puzzled. It's impossible that this news has not been delivered to the capital of 7 waters for such a long time. In fact, it's not that the message was not delivered in time. Lu Qi had known the news a long time ago, but he didn't tell the others. After all, their mission hadn't been completed yet. Their mission is for the Pluton blueprints. Even if the chief dies, it's a big deal to replace it with another one. They don't need to make any changes until the new chief takes office and issues new orders or the mission fails. So Lu Qi didn't tell other people about this at all, so that several other people didn't know about Annie's lobby. What? Khalifa was taken aback. After all, it was a bit strange that his immediate boss had hung up. She is also a little at a loss now, the task has been confirmed to have failed, and her immediate boss has hung up again, what should they do? Are you surprised? There is no news coming out, probably because the news was blocked by the world government. The purpose of your coming here is for this Hades 030 blueprint. I'm curious, what are you going to do now? You should know that this thing will never fall into your hands again. Luo Ning shook the Pluton design blueprint in his hand and said with a smile. Khalifa's eyes followed the blueprint twice, and now she confirmed that 10 are impossible to lie in life. Who is she? How could she lie? There is no need to lie to her. Well, with Bingshan's reaction just now, he obviously knows about this thing, so there is no need to speculate about the authenticity of this thing. But now it happened to be in Luo Ning's hands. They really didn't have any chance to get it. They were said to be them, even if the CPO people were sent, so she was extremely uncomfortable now. But before she could react, a flame ignited directly on the paper, and then Pluton's drawing was directly burned into a pile of ashes. Quote closing square bracket question mark exclamation mark quote. Khalifa couldn't understand Luo Ning's operation. In her opinion, even the world government valued this thing very much, so Luo Ning should also value it. Woolen cloth. To be honest, Bingshan, CBDD, I am quite puzzled by the operation of you and Frankie. You can completely burn this thing directly and keep this thing. It is impossible for you to have the ability to build it. To put it bluntly, this thing is a ticking time bomb. You might as well just set it on fire. If the design government can't get this thing, it won't attack you directly. Once you get it, you will become dangerous. Quote. Luo Ning said that he has always been unable to understand the operation of Bingshan and Frankie. It is not beneficial to keep this thing, but it is best to burn it. Once it falls into the hands of the world government, they will be finished, burned in front of each other, and they will have problems. In the original book, it was Frankie and Luffy who directly attracted the firepower of the world government, otherwise the iceberg would have been killed by the world government long ago. It is useless, and people who have hatred for the world government will naturally not keep it casually. Therefore, the best way to deal with Pluton's drawings is to destroy them directly, which is the most suitable method for Iceberg and Frankie. But the two have kept the Pluton drawings until now, and they don't know why. We have always kept some fantasies, wanting to make Pluton. Advertisement. Bingshan said helplessly, it is useless to keep the Pluton drawings, but they will inevitably have some illusions. The Pluton was built in the capital of Seven Waters, so the level of shipbuilding here has always remained high. Pluton's blueprint is the key to their revenge. It is undoubtedly a dream to take revenge on the world government with the strength of the two. But if Pluton is actually built, it's a different story. With Pluton, they have the confidence to retaliate against the world government. But the two are actually very clear that it is undoubtedly a dream to make this thing by relying on them, but they still have certain thoughts, so this thing has been kept until now. It's understandable, but I've dealt with this for you now, shouldn't you treat us to a meal? Luo Ning asked with a smile. Of course, if Mr. Luo Ning pays his respects. By the way, Khalifa, you are fired. Bingshan nodded immediately. Pluton's blueprint was gone, and now he had taken off the heavy burden on his shoulders. Without the burden, this person was much more relaxed, and now he didn't think so much about it. In fact, I knew that I wanted to build Pluton before, but this person has always been reluctant to let go of his fantasy. Now that everything is gone, he can relax. It's true, all the hard work has been useless. Khalifa looked helplessly at the figures of several people leaving, she really lost her temper now. In desperation, Khalifa could only leave to find Lucci and others. Khalifa, why are you here? Seeing Khalifa appearing here, Lucci also knew that Khalifa must have come to find him, but Khalifa came here with such swollen eyesight that made him very puzzled. Mission failed. Pluton blueprint matter. Khalifa recounted everything he had experienced before. I see. It seems that the mission has indeed failed. Spandam is indeed dead. I didn't tell you the news before. After all, for us, the mission is the most important thing. It's not a big deal to change the chief. But now that the mission has failed, it's time for us to go back. Lucci sighed helplessly, lurking here for so long, wasting a lot of training time, just waiting for something to be gained, but what he gained in the end turned out to be nothingness. It can be said that the bamboo basket fetches water in vain. However, Eni's lobby is in constant trouble now. Although the matter of Spandam will definitely not have anything to do with them, but this time the mission failed, maybe they will also become the target of venting their anger. Even if the probability is not very high, it is still possible, so he is also very helpless. Let's go. Find Kaku and call Bluno, we should go. Lucci shook his head, but when they came to Bluno's bar, they found that Luo Ning had appeared here, which stunned several people. 10 faces looked at Luo vigilantly. Don't be so nervous, I'm just a clone, not the main body, and I have some things to come here. Luo Ning's clone spoke with a smile.